Hey, what's going on? Welcome to Cleave to Antiquity. My name is Ben, and today I got an interesting episode for you today. I'm going to have Ridvan, Apostate Prophet, come on the show, and also Thaddeus from Reasoned Answers. There's been a bit of a back and forth with them lately on the internet. It's been going on for the last, I don't know, maybe like a year or so. It's kind of resulted in this endless doom spiral of drama back and forth. But you know what? I don't know. I've been feeling kind of sentimental lately. And I really do think we need to have a little more peace in this online space. So I know they had some things they wanted to clarify. They wanted to hop on the podcast and discuss some of the things that I brought up in the last podcast here. But after this, I really do want to see if there is a way that we can end this endless drama spiral. So I think it has gone a little too far, especially with the latest information that we have of attempts of doxing. It's just kind of devolved into character attacks and all of this kind of stuff. So let's see if we can't move forward in some kind of productive way. Now, I want to share something. Got me a little hope pilled, just a little hope pilled. Okay. Just a little bit. I thought this was beautiful. This was a beautiful thing. So look at this. Hold on. Let me find my bookmark here. All right. So look at this. So I don't know if you guys were involved or in the space, maybe about how long has it been now? 6 months, 8 months ago. But there was a pretty nasty back and forth between Sam and Jay. But look at this. This is the beauty of Jesus Christ right here. Forgiveness. Look, I logged back on because I was informed Jay had said I need to apologize to him for the things I said about his wife and the Ortho Bros. First, I do apologize for saying watch what would happen. Second, etc. So anyway, he apologizes here. And then look here. I mean, this is the fruits of orthodoxy right here. And you can't say, if there's one thing that you could say about the Ortho Bros, there's one thing that you could say about the Orthodox, is that we really do know how to forgive. I mean, look at my situation. I was a Protestant apologist. I was making arguments against the Orthodox Church. But look at what happened. The love of Jesus Christ is shown, in the forgiveness that the Orthodox community has given, the love that's been poured out. And I really do think if we have more dialogues with one another, this can happen more often. He says, I appreciate your comments. I forgive you. I would ask you also forgive whatever things I said as well. We pray for you as well. Thank you, Sam. Now, in the Orthodox tradition, we have this kind of forgiveness ceremony that we do once a year. And I think it really does help to instill this principle in Orthodoxy's adherents. So we'll see what happens today. I mean, maybe I'm naive. Maybe this is just an impossible task, but I figure I would at least give it one shot, and then I'm done. And then we're moving on to other things. I'll give it one shot. We'll see what can happen. Now, what I don't want this to turn into is some kind of a slop fest where we're like, people are just attacking Sam. I'm not going to allow that to happen. But if they want to come on the show and they want to discuss some of the things that we spoke about in the last podcast, especially regarding the doxing stuff, the stuff about AP, then that's what we'll do. And we'll see if it's possible that we can move on with our life. So I know AP is going to be joining us in a little bit, but I did want to highlight this because I do think this is a beautiful thing. Now, that's not to say necessarily that we got to be like best friends. We got to be best friends. We got to like work together or something. It's not what I'm saying. I'm not pushing for ecumenism, but I do think there gets to be a certain point in this online discourse where, it really just kind of becomes unhelpful, especially when we get to stuff like this, which we're going to be discussing a little bit later. So we talked about this in the last little podcast I did with Sam. It was the first time I ever brought Sam on the show, and we revealed this information here. So this is the screenshot here. Now, Thaddeus denies that he's attempting to dox here, but I think from my perspective, it seems pretty clear that's the intent. But we'll see what he has to say. This is the message from one of Sam's friends reaching out to Thaddeus. Thaddeus doesn't realize it's one of Sam's friends, but listen to what he kind of agreed to receive from this guy. He says, I can give you all Sam's info. You can dox him privately. Thaddeus replies, he's not really doxing in private, but yes, the info would be useful. Now, he makes a counterclaim, and he says that, well, I'm just talking about I want information to give to YouTube. I don't find that super convincing, but we'll see what he has to say in his defense as he comes up on the show. Now, you can't ever say that I'm afraid to have these dialogues with people. And again, if they want somebody to insult, they can insult me. That's not a big deal. I've got pretty thick skin. I was supposed to be doing this discussion with Thaddeus today to kind of clear up maybe some of the stuff from his perspective. Now, I didn't necessarily want to do a show bashing Sam or something, but look at this. This is what they end up doing yesterday. Before we even have a discussion, this is what they do. They go live on David Wood's show, and they call me cleave to deception. That filthy lion, cleave. I mean, dude, they got to come up with better insults. They got to come up with new ones, dude. I'm getting tired. I'm getting tired of the same insult over and over and over and over again. Why? The only thing they can do is call me a liar. Why is that? Why is that all they do? Got to come up with a better one. Call me bald or something. Like, call me, I don't know. What's a better cleave to insult? Come up with a better one. Let me see. Put them in the chat. Because look at this. This is what we got. This is every time a Protestant does a video about me, it's always cleave to deception. This one was honestly kind of schizophrenic. This is JP Uncuts. Lies upon lies, slander upon slander. The most dishonest liar on YouTube. Okay, I mean, is there like an honest liar? No, I don't even know what's going on. In the background, it's like schizophrenic, like scribblings. Fake. Lies, exposed lies, evil. Like, just crazy. Lying for orthodoxy. Oh no, I've never heard that before. I'm cleaving to dishonesty. I mean, this is all they do. They just say I'm a liar over and over. You got to come up with a better insults. I've got thick skin. I can take it. Call me bald. Call me something else. Cleave the lack of comb. It's over. Cleave to, yeah, there you go. Cleave to the grift. Cleave to hair. There you go. Cleave the hairline. Cleave the wrist locks. That's a good one. Cleave the wrist locks. That'd be a good one. Yeah, that guy Marco IBS, the In Between Sundays guy, the Church of Christ dude. He said if he ever visits, he wants to do some jiu-jitsu rolls with me. I told him I'm going to submit him only with wrist locks. That's what I'm going to do. Because I do jiu-jitsu, for those of you that are new to the channel. And Marco did a roll with Trent Horn and got him in an arm bar. So I told him, I said, dude, you guys were going easy on each other. If you ever roll with me, dude, I'm just going to wrist lock you immediately. Do nothing else. Just the most cheap move you possibly can. It won't even be entertaining. I'm just going to wrist lock him. Yeah, IBS. So true, so true. Good grief. But AP should be joining in just a moment. I sent him the link to discuss some of this stuff. For those of you that don't know, I mean, we've got a little bit of history, maybe not too much history, but he was kind of, he had some issues when, hold on, let me turn this thing down because I've got like, give me 1 second. I've got a loud fan. My AC's acting up, so I got the fan going. There you go. That's a little better. I could barely hear myself. Think. Yeah, there you go. Did he say AP or IP? No, apostate prophet. Apostate prophet. He's going to be swinging by the show. So let me see if let me go ahead and pull this. Let me pull up some bookmarks here because we're going to be discussing a couple of things. I know one of the things he wanted to discuss was something that's come up quite a bit, actually, was this initial thing here back when he first became a catechumen. Now, he reached out to me and he was like, look, don't you know I am still attending an Orthodox church. I'm a catechumen. If you know, he was like appealing to our orthodoxy to have a discussion. So it's kind of like The Godfather. It's like you come to me on the night of my daughter's wedding and you ask me for a favor. You know what I mean? It's kind of like one of those things. You could pull the mutual catechumen card once. But anyway, no, I want to see in all honesty, I mean, blessed are the peacemakers, right? So we should try, if we can, to have some sort of dialogue and kind of get all this nonsense to stop. So anyway, here was this. So this is Ridvan posting this about a nun. She basically says, I don't care if she hides her evil filth behind the title of nun or priest. She can die with a Hamas terrorist for all I care. So we're going to discuss this. I know he's got some background info on this nun he wants to present. Now, he did back this statement. He did walk back this statement a little bit. But I'd like to hear from him, from his perspective, what his thought process is on all this before I just get all this out there in the pre-show ramble. Let's see. Saint Benjamin Petrograd, the martyr, the new martyr. Saint Benjamin Petrograd, the new martyr. You bald, dog. So true. I am bald. So true. Very true, actually. Extremely true. Hairline to antiquity. Truth nuke. Ask AP why LARPs is Orthodox while supporting Israel. Genuinely a condemned heresy. Well, Christian Zionism would be. Supporting them politically is certainly frowned upon. Don't tell this guy about our inside joke where we chant, we love Israel. We love Israel. Bibi Netanyahu, send me 5,000 super chats immediately. Bibi Netanyahu, we love you, Bibi, my best friend. Bibi Netanyahu, leader of Israel. My little sweetie, Bibi Netanyahu, fly me out to Israel so I can kiss the wall and get my 7,000. My best friend. I love him so much. There you go. We love it. We love it. That's right. So true. Spam W, Bibi. We're going to have a serious talk. Spam W, Bibi Netanyahu in the chat immediately. Spam W, Bibi. We love Bibi. We love Israel. So true. So true. What's that song? What's that song they teach you in high school? They like the brainwashing song. I had a little dreidel, I made it out of clay, and when it's dry and ready, with dreidel I will play. Dreidel, dreidel, dreidel. They teach you that in like middle school. BB's top boy, so true, so true. I'm BB's top guy. I'm his best friend. It's the big Yahoo and KGB Bucks just came in. We love Israel. Zero Israel counter signaling in my chat. Zero. My best friend BB watches the show all the time. Little birdie told me to send this. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Oh. What are you doing? Facilitating and encouraging drama and gossip. Repent. It's pathetic. Well, we'll see what we can do. I've got AP in the background here. So he's going to come up on the stage and we'll have a nice chat. Welcome to the show, Ridvan.
Hey, how are you doing?
Yeah, pretty good. Let me fix my audio. You're kind of quiet. Hold on.
I'm quiet.
On my end, is it echoing?
You sound perfectly fine. I'm on maximum volume, so.
All right. Well, there you go. Welcome to the show, AP. It's been a long time coming. Appreciate you
Thank
taking
you.
some time out of your day to come and have a chat. I know there were some things you wanted to clarify about some of the things I said in that last podcast. So, in the interest of fairness, brought you up here so you could present, what you wanted about the Nun situation and some of the stuff that's been going around about the unfortunate situation with Mrs. Apostate. So, welcome. For those that don't know who you are, why don't you do like a
it's
introduction?
not Mrs. Apostate. I have to clarify that. So you're speaking about my former wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you for having me. I didn't initially want to engage in this, but I thought it would be nice it would be probably good or useful to come on and talk about everything that's been said in order to clarify. I have kind of endured for a year now that people said whatever they wanted about me. So I want to finally respond to things. I've also, for most of the time, ignored Sam Shamoun. And I want to clarify that. I want to say that there is so much that needs to be said. Sorry. Especially when it comes to the other day's live stream. So,
well, before we dive into it, I do want to just set a couple of like little housekeeping items here. I don't necessarily want to dive too much into like a character attack of Sam because he's not here to defend himself. But what I would like to do is, well, anything that we discussed, we can talk about some of those things. Now, I understand the reason for this is because I would like this to be the end of it. Like,
wait a minute. Sorry. I'm genuinely here to resolve things and genuinely here to be
Sure.
nice and friendly. But you had Sam on here, and he just spewed all kinds of garbage about everyone, about me, about David, about Avery, God Logic, about Inspiring Philosophy, about everybody.
Stuff that's public, yeah. I mean,
Without
things have already been
hindrance.
said. Do you have an interest in wanting to just end the situation, or would we like to continue?
I am not the one who started it to begin with. I am. Here is the thing. I mean, that's a good place to start, actually. Well,
Sure.
First off, I don't know. I want to start this in a good way and hope that it all goes as in a good way. Briefly said, but here was the funny thing. You concluded your live stream with Sam Shamoun by saying that this is not about ideologies, it's not about beliefs, it's not about this and this and that, not about doctrine. People should just simply stop piling on Sam Shamoun, stop attacking Sam Shamoun. He gave you the impression that all of this started because people started attacking Sam Shamoun, and people were just piling on Sam Shamoun. He gave you the impression. Can you confirm that is the impression that you have at the moment?
Well, I mean, I think it's been going back and forth for quite some time. I can't deny things have been said on both sides that get other people angry.
But that is what you said yesterday.
Well, either way, we can look at even the situation that's just recently happened with Jay. Things were said on both sides, but you know what happened?
Okay, well, here's the thing.
They moved on, and they said, "Hey, look."
Here is the thing, Cleve. It wasn't things said on both sides. I have for the last year, I have talked very, very little about Sam Shamoun. We can demonstrate this if you want to. It's actually very, very easy. You can go on David Wood's channel live streams. You can go on my live streams. Then you can go on Sam Shamoun's live streams. Sam Shamoun for the last year has repeated. You can literally click on any random live stream and go through to the transcript and search for Apostate Prophet, or with all the other names that he calls me, David Wood, or with other names he calls me, and the others. He has repeatedly attacked all of us, repeatedly, before we ever said anything. It was only 2 months ago when I jumped in and I said, okay, all right, it is time to respond. It's time to go to war, which is when we began to respond. So it isn't the fact that that we started it or that things have been said on both sides. It is that he started it, you platformed it, you repeated his false claims, and now we are supposed to be quiet about it?
Ridvan. Whether or not who started it, who smacked the other one, who did this, who did that, whoever began this whole rabbit hole, this is where we're at, neck deep in the middle of it. So what I would like to do is see if we can bring a resolution to this. So what I've invited you to come on the show to do is to address some of the things that have really been being spoken about in the public sphere for the last year, as you've already stated. So, I mean, he's already said on his side, Now, granted, I mean, take it for whatever you want. I mean, you might not believe that he's going to stop if we stop or whatever, or that I'll stop if you guys stop or whatever. But if we could put a nice cherry on top, and I'm going to have Thaddeus on later. I know Thaddeus has been a little more involved in the back and forth as well, but I'm not going to talk about him without him being here. But let's see if we can just put an end to it. So I brought you.
Here's the thing: there is no place to put an end to this. I think that I tried. Look, you don't know anything about this. I was friendly with Sam Shamoun for most of the time, even when David cut ties with him. He also lied about why David cut ties with him. So if you want to resolve things, you can't resolve things by leaving the lies out there without resolving those lies first. David cut ties with him for very obvious reasons, because David repeatedly warned him and repeatedly told him, "Hey, you can't call people." Are you going to let me talk?
I understand.
Are you going to let me talk, or do you want to just cut me off and impose whatever you want to impose?
Well,
listen, I came here for an actual proper discussion. If you want to resolve things, if you want to have a fruitful resolving discussion, you can't just cut me off whenever I say 2 words and then preach to me. In all honesty, be serious for a second. David would cut him off because Sam Shamoun has repeatedly attacked people's families, called people whores, daughters of whores, sons of whores, sons of Satan, and so on and so forth. David told him repeatedly to stop doing that because it is a very, very bad thing, right? Obviously. He didn't. Eventually, somebody sent him a clip where David says very publicly to somebody who was asking a question, "I will piss on your mother and let the Shia rape her, the whore," and so on and so forth.
AP,
upon which David cut ties with Sam Shamoun.
AP,
Sam Shamoun then made
AP,
this look like people just can't stand him. You paraded that. Under those circumstances, how do you think things?
If you're just going to come on my show and rant, dude, then this isn't going to go anywhere. Listen, I mean, is that really what you wanted to do? You want to come here and vent about Sam, or did you want to actually talk about the stuff and hash it out?
Are you talking about this stuff? You're just telling me.
That's what I'm actually saying. Look, we're both grown men. We can have a discussion
right,
about.
So
if you want to show the messages, some of the stuff that was said yesterday, I don't need to go into 5 zillion other little petty grievances that you have with this individual. Let's be adults, okay? So, are you willing to discuss the things that was talked about yesterday, or are we going to go into every other little thing?
I'm willing to discuss everything that's been said over the last year. Here's the message that I sent you. Let's see where it was. I said, you're about to invite a liar and slanderer on your show to make a point, right? I'm going to an Orthodox church, right? You know that contrary to popular belief, I didn't actually abandon my wife and children to be with another woman, right?
So let's talk.
You can do whatever you want, of course, but I will make a video, live stream talking about it and so on. You said you can come on the show and clear the air if you feel there are misrepresentations in what's represented.
In the video, yes.
So you didn't say in the video.
In the video, yeah, because you're talking about the stuff that we're talking about on the show.
Okay,
so this is what I brought you on to do. This isn't your personal vent session against Sam. That's not what this is supposed to be.
This is not about Sam. It's about you. It's about Sam. It's about many other things.
Then insult me. Don't insult the guy that's not here right now. I understand.
You literally allowed him to insult us the whole time.
AP, I get it. So insult me for that. Insult my hypocrisy. But let's discuss what's actually been brought up, rather than going into every little detail of this entire situation.
All right.
Does that sound okay?
I know that you have a drama show and you want clicks for drama and all that, but I want to resolve.
I'm literally trying to resolve it right now.
How are you resolving this if you aren't even going to listen to what's happening here?
Well, you want to continue to stoke it on by bringing up every little thing that's ever happened.
I don't want to. I want to point out to you that this is not a matter that can just be resolved by putting Sam's distorted image of things out there, then quieting or shutting me or others down, and then pretending that we can resolve it from there. I am not here for drama. I am here to call out Sam Shamoun for the devil that he is and for the liar that he is. Expose him.
Well, unfortunately,
I want to clear the air. I want to clear the air.
Unfortunately, AP, if you decided to come on here for a vent session on Sam, then you've wasted your time.
That's not why I'm here. I want to point out the facts of the situation. Then I want to talk about the things that you have said about me, the things about the nun, the things about the divorce, my divorce with my former wife, about which you have abundantly said tons of things, including in the last session. I want to talk about those things. If you are actually interested in addressing those things and resolving those things, I am here to do that. If you want to instead cut me off whenever I say something that makes you feel uncomfortable, I will go on my own channel and expose all of it.
Well, let's discuss those things. Let's discuss the divorce thing. Let's discuss the nun thing, and then we can move on. Is that okay?
Let's do it. Let's do it. Sure.
Okay. So with the, well, I guess we can just go ahead and address the Nun thing first, and then we'll move into the other part.
All right.
So this was a situation that happened. This was roughly, I don't know, this is a repost of this, but we'll say roughly around August or something along this line. This isn't the entire post. I know the original post was deleted.
I can give you the
this was
original post.
this was a GOCK nun that had went on Tucker Carlson's show and had said some things that you had stated were pro-Hamas. So this was the statement that I guess was the most incendiary here. I do not care if she, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I will send you the whole post, and you can show it on screen if you want to.
Okay. I don't care if she hides her evil filth behind the title of nun or a priest. She can die with the Hamas terrorist for all I care. Now, to be fair to you, you did issue a kind of apology here. Let me pull this up real quick. And this was the apology.
That's not the apology. That's only part of the apology.
Do you have the entire post? You can send it to me. I'll pull it up. If not, no big deal. Or you could just tell me kind of in your own words, because I have you right in front of me. But anyway, in any case, referring to her with strong language, despite how wrong and possibly ill-intentioned she was wrong of me. Depicting her as a devil was probably also wrong. I say this not because I think it was actually a bad thing in and of itself. I said this to my spiritual father as well. It was, however, a mistake.
Let's pause there for a second.
Go ahead.
You repeatedly read this and then said that I don't actually think it is a bad thing what I did. To your understanding, I don't think this is a bad thing in and of itself, and I don't think this is a bad thing mean the same thing.
Well, why don't you explain what you mean, what you meant in this post, because I have you right here.
All right. So I made these posts about Agapia, whatever her actual name is. My spiritual father, priest at the time, called me to the church. I talked with him about it extensively. He said to me, Ridvan, you cannot say these things and you cannot depict her in that way. I argued that, Father, she is evil and she is a liar. This is why I'm doing these things. And to be fair, yes, I did depict her as a devil in order to draw attention to the things that she said. My spiritual father said to me, okay, Ridvan, do you think that you reached your intended purpose by doing that? I said, well, honestly, I don't think so. He said, well, you depicted her as a devil and thereby insulted, on the surface, simply a nun, which offended everybody. Do you think people actually paid attention to the things that you wanted to draw attention to? I said, to be fair, you're making a good point. I did not. I just added fuel to the fire. So he said, well, you should not be doing that to begin with. Here you can see that reacting in anger harms you and hurts you and damages you. Don't do that, please. He sent me texts later on after I left the church and said that he will help me every day to overcome my angry reactions to things. I agreed to that. I went home, I thought further about it, then I deleted everything and I apologized. My apology was for the following. I still do believe that the nun is a pretty messed up person, and that she is a political figure who lies about things, and who also, by the way, cheers for or approves of the killing of innocent people, for which I condemn her and think that she's evil. That said, I do not think that it's a right idea of me, on my behalf, to post images of her as a devil and to insult her in brutal fashion or to call her names. I think that was a bad thing. I think that what I did there only added fuel to the fire and caused more evil, which is why it was probably bad. I could have addressed this in a much better way. I still have the same opinions about her. I still think that she is a propagandist. I still think that she's a terrorist supporter and a supporter of Islamists. And I still think that if I was killed, abducted and killed by Islamic terrorists, she would make excuses for that and would say that they are right in doing so. You depicted this as me just attacking her just because she says Palestinian civilians shouldn't be killed. At which point I would ask you to play the clip that I sent you yesterday.
All right, let me pull that up real quick. Hold on one moment.
And I know people are saying, oh, you're just making this up, it's just speculation. All right, let's go ahead and watch the video. Hamas, to everyone's reminder, is an Islamic terrorist organization whose goal it is to suppress Christians, massacre the Jews, and establish an Islamic caliphate. Does anybody believe that it's a good thing to praise Hamas?
So this is the video that you sent yesterday, and this is a clip from her interview on Tucker.
Yeah.
So let's take a look. It's about 3 minutes long. I'm going to play it on 1.25. But
I apologize for the music. There's some music
there. You want me to watch the whole one? The whole?
Yeah, please.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead.
We're just flooded with this message that those terrorists are coming to get us next, which is absurd. Has any...
And now there's nothing in here that's going to get me flagged for TOS, though, right?
It's my music. No, it's fine.
Okay, but there's no like graphic images or anything.
Do you want me to check?
Let's just see. It doesn't give me a little preview. Well, if there is one, then I'll scoot forward just a little bit.
There is nothing graphic, no, except people beating somebody and people taking people out of trouble. So
anything that might be like borderline TOS, we'll scoot past just a little bit and focus on what she's saying here.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and we'll play the whole clip here.
We're just flooded with this message that those terrorists are coming to get us next, which is absurd. Has any member of Hamas or anybody of Palestinian come and threatened America as an American? No, that's not what they're about.
إننا وصلنا إلى حالة الردع بالدفاع عن الأرض المحتلة 510 مليون كيلو متر مربع وهي مساحة الكرة الأرضية سوف تعيش حالة لا ظلم فيها ولا قهر فيها ولا خيانة ولا ولا مسيحية غادرة.
But that's the tactic that's used is that.
Sorry, go ahead.
Pay attention to what he just said. There's a Hamas spokesperson. This is a consistent Hamas message. That's a consistent Hamas message. He says that the world will come under Islamic rule, that the Jews will be punished, and that the treacherous Christianity will also be brought under the feet of the Islamic justice. This is what Hamas preaches all the time.
الكرة الأرضية سوف تعيش حالة لا ظلم فيها ولا قهر فيها ولا خيانة ولا مسيحية غادرة.
But that's the tactic that's used is that we have to plaster them as being these jihadists when they're nothing like that.
Are they religious fanatics? Are they jihadis?
Not the people that I know.
أولاً هو تنظيف فلسطين من دنس اليهود واستئصالهم بيد الله وهو قاب قوسين أو أدنى 4 سنوات إخواننا 2022 بكون خلصنا منهم. أما الأمر الثاني وهو إقامة الخلافة بعد أن تتعافى الأمة من سرطانها وهو اليهود بإذن الله سبحانه.
I would have voted for those guys
Paul,
because they weren't corrupt.
You said something?
Notice she also says she would have voted for those guys. I want people to understand one thing. I know that there are lots of people out there who are sick in the head and who are consumed by much of the propaganda that is currently out there and who think, oh, this is just about Jews, just about Israel. We don't believe that anyway. Please shut that part of your brain down for a second. Open your eyes. Look at it with your eyes. This is a Hamas. This is the primary number one Hamas spokesperson who speaks to Muslim Arabs in Gaza, who tells them about everything that they want to do. What he says is, yes, we will eradicate the Jews. Yes, we get it. You don't care about that if Jews are eradicated. All right, fine. What does he say after that? After that, the next goal is to establish the Islamic Caliphate.
Are you saying that about me? I don't care if the Jews are eradicated?
I'm not saying that about you. I'm saying that.
Oh, you're saying about this person here. Okay, I just wanted to clarify.
No. What the guy says next is that their goal is to establish an Islamic caliphate. What do people think an Islamic caliphate is? An Islamic caliphate is a place where Christians are reduced to second-class citizens, literally slaves of the Muslims. That is the stated goal of Hamas.
All right, let's get through the rest of this clip here. I'm going to turn my fan down too because I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Wanted to serve their people, and that's what it was about.
وفي كل مرة أكرر إن دماء الأطفال والنساء والشيوخ لا أقول تستصرخكم بل نحن الذين نحتاج هذه الدماء لكي توقظ فينا روح الثورة.
I'm not saying it doesn't happen anywhere. I'm not totally ingrained in the community, but the vibe there isn't one of wanting everybody to convert to Islam and forcing it upon them at all.
والذي يستعد إن شاء الله تعالى لتحرير القدس وتحرير الأقصى والذي يستعد إن شاء الله تعالى نقولها بملء الفم
يستعد لاحتضان الخلافة بعاصمتها القدس إن شاء الله تعالى. ولن تكون القدس عاصمة لفلسطين فقط كدولة مستقلة، وإنما ستكون عاصمة للخلافة. يجب أن ننتفض كشعب فلسطيني وأن نتخلص من هذه أسباب الخيانة والهمالة والعمالة. لمن؟ لليهود والنصارى، لمن يقتلون أبناء شعبكم؟ لا يجوز، يجب أن ننتفض.
And the purpose of Hamas
Can
is
you pause for
primarily
a second?
to resist and
Go ahead.
Can you go back on that still footage of mentioning Christians?
This?
Just after that, I think. After that. Here. People generally think, because they are influenced by certain interests and certain propaganda, that this is just about Jews. I'm telling you, yes, I am one of the few among hundreds of thousands who are actually aware. I know this is a very enticing idea, who are actually aware that you are being fed propaganda. I'm saying this to all those people who think, oh, this is just propaganda, and so on and so on. This is a Hamas spokesperson, once again, verified with any Arabic speaker, verified with anybody. This guy and others repeatedly to their own people, because they don't actually have a proper Christian population in Gaza, they repeatedly say that the Jews and the Christians, yes, we know you guys don't care about Jews, but the Jews and the Christians will be taken over, will be subjugated by us. And they are traitors. They describe Christians generally as traitors. This is what their idea is. And some people then go and say, oh, well, Hamas was created by Israel. Let's say for a second, Hamas was created by Israel. All right, let's accept that argument for 1 second here. What are we watching right now? We are watching a supposed nun who is actually a schismatic, genuine Orthodox Church nun. We are watching her praise Hamas. And this is the woman that I insulted and spoke against.
All right, so do you want me to finish watching this?
Please finish.
All right, let's go ahead and wrap this one up here.
أبناء شعبكم لا يجوز، يجب أن ننتفض.
the purpose of Hamas is primarily to resist and to protect their people.
It's not just Palestine and Israel where the Christian population has shrunk. It seems like throughout the Levant.
Yes. And I think that's part of the whole greater Israel project. You know, isn't it so ironic that they've made such a big thing?
Targeting Christians.
All right, you can.
Targeting Christians, yeah.
All right,
said-
we can finish it here if you want to.
Okay. So she makes a couple of statements here. So she says she's lived in this region, right? She's saying that
She really didn't.
she would have
actually.
voted for them, so on and so forth. Okay. And your spiritual father says your objection to this could have been handled in a better way, is basically what it
Yes.
came down to. And that was the
Yes.
nature of your, let me see if I can pull that. That was the nature of this
So
apology.
I want to ask you
here.
a question here. You said yesterday or the other day during a live stream that I attacked her and called her devil, and said she can die with Hamas for all I care, just because she said that innocent Palestinians shouldn't be killed. Do you now understand that you were wrong when you said that?
Sure, I think with greater context, you can add a little more context to that statement. You said that she can die with Hamas terrorists for all I care because she said that she would have voted for them, and maybe that they're, not as bad, or so on and so forth. Meanwhile, from your perspective, these gentlemen, bad people, terrorists, whatever you want to call them, are actually fighting against Christians and Israel. Is that a more accurate? I don't want to straw man your position at all before I say anything.
That's very, very far off. You said that I called her a devil just because she said Palestinians shouldn't be killed, whereas I actually called her out and depicted her as such, which I could have done in a better way, because she actually proudly and happily repeatedly praised Hamas and supported them, and also said that she would vote for them, when these Hamas terrorists are Islamic terrorists who have killed people that I know, who have killed the families, who have massacred the families of people that I know, who are enemies of Jews and Christians, and who would suppress all of us if they had the power. So, I went and spoke to and was among people that I love, who helped me out, who have families that were brutally massacred by these bastards. Now you have this woman who pretends to be a nun and who praises those murderers. Do you really think I'll be like, oh yeah, okay, I don't agree with her? I will be angry with her. very angry with her, and I will call it out, and I will say anyone who defends her at this point is highly deluded and highly ignorant at best.
Well, you realize that that's exactly how we feel about the individuals that are defending Israel.
What does it have to do with anything?
What do you mean? What does it have to do with anything?
You are currently asking. We're currently talking about why I depicted this nun as a devil.
Sure. Yeah, we could stay on that, and we can maybe discuss that in just a moment. I was going to play just a quick clip from one of our priests talking about why a lot of their people in their congregation have been forced to leave because of some of the expansionist tendencies of Israel. And I don't really think there is this kind of like false dialectic of you have to support one or the other. But I understand what you're saying. Go ahead, Ev. I don't want to.
I thought you wanted to stay on topics that we have talked about me and so on and so forth.
Sure. Well, I think it is related. If you don't think it's related, it is what it is. But anyway, so I guess I could just say this. So the statement here that was said is she could die with the Hamas terrorists for all I care. So you disagree with her politically. You think that what she said on Tucker was evil, and this type of thing. Okay. So let's just, for the sake of argument, let's grant it. Let's say she said the most ridiculous, outrageous thing on Tucker possible. Does that, I mean, it seems like you already say it doesn't justify posting something like this, but I guess I could just ask to have you clarify. Does that then justify saying she can die with them for all I care?
Well, if she died, if she went to Gaza to help her Islamic terrorist friends and died together with them, I wouldn't shed a tear over it. I would pray for her, but I wouldn't shed a tear over it.
So, okay, you would. So, but that's not necessarily the question that I asked, though. Does it justify making a statement like this? Not whether or not you'd personally feel
that
kind
is
of emotion.
How do you understand the statement that I made here? She can die with Hamas terrorists for all I care.
Well, that's why I have you on the show to explain that.
No, it doesn't make sense. You don't. You say that what I just said doesn't really amount to the statement over here, but you don't.
Well, you said you wouldn't. Oh, I guess for all I care is kind of an emotional statement. Is that what you're getting at? So you're saying like if she died,
I wouldn't care if she died
because of the statement that she made.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, do you think the statement's justified? I mean, it seems like you agree with the statement there anyway. So.
No, I think I would have. This is not the statement that I agree with. I deleted this post, as you very well know.
Okay.
And I took it back because I could have worded everything in a better way. That said, I think that she's a propagandist, and I think that she encourages evil. And it's not just that I disagree with her; it is that she actually supports people who murder people that I love, who would happily murder me and all that. And why would I say anything nice about her? Why would I shed a tear if she dies? Well, this is also not.
Don't you realize though that people could say the same thing about you, and it would be highly inappropriate because you support the nation state of Israel, though, and they do similar things.
Sure, they could say it. I don't think they do anything similar.
No,
this is not a question of supporting Israel or not. I'm not telling anybody, hey, Israel is a fantastic state. The last time I was in Israel, I actually left the country by saying some really harsh things to the very same people who invited me and hosted me because I personally had my disagreements with them and disagreements with things that I said or with things that I saw when I was there. So I generally still think that Israel is in the right in that place. I think that Israel is specifically right and specifically the only good option for Christians in that region. I think that Christians are doing, I mean, I don't just think that, I know very well because every statistic says so, that Christians do significantly better under Israel than any other nation in the region. And I appreciate that about Israel. Now, I do not think, or I do not say that that every Christian should support Israel. I also do not have any religious allegiances to Israel because I'm not a Christian Zionist. I simply personally think that it is better to be on the side of Israel. Also because Israel is the one that is fighting the ultimate enemy here, which is Islam and the possible resurgence of the Islamic Caliphate, which Hamas actually works toward. So support Israel, don't support Israel. It's honestly nothing at all to me. But don't turn this into so you support the other side. Why should I trust you? And so on.
No. The reason that I bring it up is because somebody could make the same statement about you and it would be highly inappropriate. And if you would indulge me, I just want to play just a 40-second clip. I don't want to get too far off. I want to keep this in the context of Would this be an appropriate statement to say, given this circumstance? So this is a 40-second clip. This is Father Josiah Trenum talking about some of his congregants here. And this was on, I think, the Lila Rose show. She's a Roman Catholic lady.
To see this Zionist state allied with the United States of America, a Knesset that is full of the vast majority who think Jesus Christ was a false rabbi, properly executed for his blasphemy. And this is our chief ally? For what? For what? You know, my church is full of immigrants who were driven out of the Holy Land in 1948, and then later, 20 years later, by Jewish soldiers who came to their homes where they had lived for untold generations. They came at noon with guns, and they said, we're coming back at 5. If you're here, we'll kill you. To see this.
So, go ahead.
So this is why I said, this is why I pointed out that if you want to keep the discussion focused on what was being said, you probably shouldn't be going into this direction, because there's so much to unpack here. I love Father Josiah Trenum, and I have nothing but respect for him. But here in this case, he's simply wrong. He is simply wrong, because that's not what happened historically. I also discussed this with other Palestinian Christians or Jewish converts to Christianity themselves. One of them you might know very well, Ash Mays. He will happily come on here and he will tell you that this is not what happened, because it is not what happened. I talked to Palestinian Christians myself when I was over there, over here. This is not what happened.
Well, we can get into that. I mean, my former senior pastor, you know, he actually has a lot of family in that region that could actually testify to the exact opposite. So I think that could be a longer discussion that we could have on that subject. But the real reason I brought that up is given the context of what Father Josiah Trenum just said, because it seems like you said that, you know, I wouldn't shed a tear if this person, you know, died or whatever, and this was a statement that was published. I don't think it would be appropriate if someone were to say the same thing about you, given the situation in Israel. I would condemn that. And I'm sure there are people in anonymous accounts online that have said similar things about you, Ridvan. Is that correct?
I'm sure of that. It doesn't bother me. But I would also say that it's a false equivalency, because as said, this is not what happened. It is not what is happening to people at the moment. If there are people in masses who are dying in this war, it is the vast majority of them are Muslims. In the past, with this reference here, with people being kicked out of the land in 1948, it wasn't Israel that came to their door out of nowhere and said, "Okay, you have to leave, otherwise you will die." It was a war that was twice over started by the Palestinian Muslim side, with the idea that we have to fight these Jews and take the land that never even belonged to them. It was when Israel declared their own state with the approval of the United Nations that the Palestinian side invited the neighboring nations and started invading Israel, upon which Israel responded. Israel then started fighting, a brutal fight, in which they started clearing their borders and critical zones where both sides collide. They did, from place to place, go and say, you have to evacuate this area immediately. There's a war going on. That definitely happened. But it isn't as depicted in people's heads that Israel just randomly turned up and was like, hey, this belongs to us now, leave or you will die. That's not what happened. And the Christians didn't fight for most of them. Most of the Christians did not fight. Most of the Christians were actually removed from the places that they belonged to, because Muslims moved into their neighborhoods and eventually replaced them or forced them to leave. This is what happened, for example, in the West Bank very prominently. It is even something that a current nun who is in Bethany will tell you happily. And you should invite her on. If you want to have this discussion, she's an Orthodox nun. You should invite her on and actually ask her about how Israel treats them and how the Palestinian Muslim side treats them. She is a nun who will tell you her story, that just because she took her students within the West Bank, who were mostly Muslims. She asked for permission and took her students to the Holocaust Museum in Jerusalem. The Palestinian authorities in charge and the society at large started a campaign to lynch her and to kill her. She is an Orthodox nun. Of course, people don't want to talk about it because the propaganda doesn't want people to talk about it. That's just how it is. And I know people are like, oh, yeah, we really. It is an Orthodox nun. If you actually want to talk about Orthodox nuns and what happens to them, a canonical Orthodox nun, her life is being constantly threatened. But I know the Russian propaganda doesn't care about it.
The Russian propaganda. You're so funny. So
why? Why is it funny?
It's such a random thing to toss in there. So the Russia propaganda anyway. So you're saying basically you disagree that Israel is killed, Christians, has forced them out of their homes to expand their territory.
Yes.
That's basically the crux of that.
I mean that's a historical fact, yeah.
Okay, so you're saying, so you disagree with that the fact that that's happened. It's been mostly, according to you, just so I get it clear, according to you, it's been mostly Muslims that have been basically killed in this conflict. Therefore, you think it's a false equivalence because it's been Muslims that have been killed.
That is only a tiny part of it, but yeah, whatever.
Okay, so if we take all of that, from my perspective, it still seems like, and maybe we're just going to keep repeating this over and over again, this would still be a wicked statement to say, right? I mean, whether or not you agree with one side of this conflict or another.
I already told you I don't stand by the statement.
Okay, perfect. Well, so then you don't stand by the statement she could die with Hamas terrorists for all I care, because that's what we've been talking about this last 15
I would have worded it differently. Let's say that. Let's just keep it at that.
How would you have worded it then?
I already said how I would have worded it.
Okay,
if she died together with the Islamic terrorists, I wouldn't shed a tear over it.
Okay. So I think that's about as far as we're going to get on this one, because me and you, we're just not going to we're not going to agree on the Israel thing. I don't support Israel politically. I also don't support Islam politically. I don't think there is a dialectic there where you have to choose one of the two. I mean, people are being killed in the Middle East. It's an unfortunate situation. We could talk about that in more detail at a later time, but that's not necessarily what we came here to discuss. I mean, I can pull up clips of Israeli nationals saying that not one Gentile deserves to live. I can pull up clips like this. I can pull up clips of Bibi Netanyahu talking about how he wants to wage an information war against the United States. But I'll leave it there. We'll move on to the next thing. So I know you had some information that you wanted to clarify regarding the situation with your ex.
Yes.
Now, I think this is honestly, it's an unfortunate situation, and I know you probably don't think much of me, but it does suck. It's not fun dealing with that. But let's go ahead and hear what you have to say about the situation, because I know there's really been not much other than one side speaking about this. You haven't really said too much in the online space other than, I remember when you went to Israel, you said you were with a woman or something, and correct me if I'm wrong, you said you were interested in her romantically.
I haven't talked about this for mostly for specific reasons, which were that looking back, it was a stupid decision, but I thought I would be speaking about a person who is who has very little space or ability to defend herself or to explain her own position. And while I did that, she was the one who said everything she wanted about me, and I just took it. And I even told her that. When she said wrong things about me online, when she had a profile, I told her, why are you doing this? Please take that back. And she even apologized. There was one tweet that she posted a long time ago, which I saw you and Sam and others share, which was something like that I left her and the children, which was just the greatest lie ever. Over that, people have accused me of leaving my wife and my children behind just to be with another woman and just for Zionism. It's like, what? Those things are completely unrelated and don't make any sense at all. I'd never left my wife and children. That literally never happened. I never left them without provision. That never happened. In fact, after we separated, I repeatedly left half or even most of my income, my monthly income, to her account, which she knows very well, which I even brought up before court. I never left the children. What actually did happen is that she told me after a while that I should no longer take care of the children, that I should no longer pick them up and drop them off at school, that she will do this. She later on even denied my right to see the kids, and I had to go through a lawyer to do that. What actually did happen is, and this is a very, very long story,
Sure.
and I'm scheduling a live stream for tonight for 8 to clarify everything, to put everything out there, because I'm sick of being trampled on. And I also don't care about anyone's sympathies, but I want to set the record straight. It was not a very good relationship, not a very good marriage, and not something that I simply decided to end because I wanted to. It was an abusive relationship. It was a heavily abusive relationship that I decided that I wanted to be, that I chose to be a part of for the longest time when I shouldn't have, because I thought it is probably the right thing to do. I should probably continue. I probably have this job to continue. Even when she threatened me, even when she lied about me, when she came after me again and again, I repeatedly said, okay, you shouldn't be doing this. Please don't do this. It hurts me, and so on. But I still committed myself to staying in a relationship with her until it came to the point where I thought, I don't know why I have been doing this. It's time to stop. I told her about this, and I said I want to separate. The day that I told her, she thanked me. She thanked me for telling her this. 2 days later, she said to me, hey, you know what? It's actually very good that you decided to divorce, because I have been talking about this other guy, and he actually loves me, and I want to get together with him and marry him and move away. And I said to her, well, that's very good, because the primary reason why I didn't want to initiate this divorce is that I was afraid that she was just going to be left on her own. But apparently that wasn't the case, because she was talking to some other guy all the time. So that's literally what happened. We talked about it. We agreed to separate. And by the way, before we did that, I went to my priest in the Orthodox Church. I went to my priest and I talked to him about this. I said to him, Father, I have endured this forever and ever. I can't anymore. I have to get a divorce. My priest in the Greek Orthodox Church said to me, Ridvan, we don't handle divorces very kindly. And it is not something that should be done unless it is absolutely necessary. So I urge you to find a different way. At this point, I urge you to go back home, to not do anything, to not speak to anybody about this, but to engage simply in prayer and to listen. Shut off your brain and just listen and pray. I said, Father, I will do the following. I will go home. I will sit in prayer for 3 days. I will not speak to anybody about this. I will try to abstain from any sin or anything even more firmly, and I will focus on prayer, and I will get back to you. I went home and I did that. I didn't talk to anybody about it. I was completely quiet for 3 days. I prayed. At the end of it, I was surer than ever that this is what needs to be done, because I was self-destructing as well at the same time. I went to the priest, to my spiritual father, and said, I have done this. I have to divorce. He said, Ridvan, I cannot tell you that you should be doing this, but I understand if you do it. It is not a good thing, and I will ask you in the aftermath to engage in repentance. However, you are always welcome in the church. Your status in the church will not change, and everything will continue as it is. That's what he said. He still tried to find if there is any option for reconciliation, but it didn't happen. I told him very clearly, there is no chance of reconciliation. It's not going to end well. So he said, okay, then we have to handle this properly as we do it in the church. And we did. At least I tried. She didn't. She fueled more and more rumors and more stuff against me online. And I repeatedly told her. And if it wasn't a little bit of a jerk move of me, I would even show you the messages in which she apologized for things that she says about me and says, sorry, I could have handled this in a better way, and then makes correction posts about it, and then deletes those later on, then accuses me of things, then apologizes again, and so on, which was basically how our relationship went for 8 years. I don't have to explain any of these things to the public. And for a year, I thought to myself, I probably shouldn't explain these things to the public, because why would people want to get in on the drama? at this point, I just can't endure it anymore. That people repeatedly want to put this in my face and want to depict me as an adulterous person who left his wife and kids to be with another woman. Another woman is a person, a woman that I met during this process, to whom I talked, whom I came to love and appreciate, who is a good Orthodox Christian woman, with whom I'm trying to do things right, going to the church and actually entering into the church properly with a proper blessed marriage. And in the meantime, while I'm trying to simply sit down and be a proper Christian, just for your information, I am divorced from my previous wife, which was a terrible marriage. I am going to an Orthodox church with a proper priest, and I'm trying every day to be a good Christian. With a woman that I love, whom I also want to help, who also helps me be a good Christian. In return, or what distracts me this whole time is I go online and people start talking about me and depicting me in these ways that that people have fabricated, that have nothing to do with the truth. And I mean, I have my limits and my patience, and I'm not necessarily the strongest. I can't take it forever. At some point, I have to come out and start talking about it. I am trying to be a good Christian. I have made mistakes. I have engaged in a necessary divorce, and I will engage in repentance for that, because a divorce, even if it's justified, is probably not something that is pretty for the soul. I will engage in repentance, and I'm trying to be a good Christian in the process. Why do some people find it so attractive to attack me in the middle of this? Why do people act like I'm an enemy of the Orthodox Church in the middle of this? Because certain Ortho bros were also engaged in attacking me, and I responded to them. In fact, I don't know if you want to get into this in a little bit, but I want to ask you that question. You depicted me as attacking Orthodoxy. When did I ever attack Orthodoxy?
Yeah, we can get into
I'm
that.
trying to be an Orthodox Christian, honestly.
Yeah, we can get into that in just a moment. So just to make sure that I have you clear, you're saying that basically she was seeing another man while you were still married. You ended up getting a divorce. After the divorce, that's when you're with this other woman. Is that the same woman that you were?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it was during the separation, and I didn't. And there are ways in which you can understand why I did that. I wouldn't say that it was necessarily done in a very good Christian way, and I talked about that with my spiritual father as well. But I met another woman while I was in separation, while I was separating from my previous wife, which was a very poorly decided and terrible marriage before. We didn't separate because she was talking to another guy. She told me only after I decided to separate that she's talking to another guy. But there is much to it. I'm simply trying to bring some of the facts into it, and I'm going to extensively talk about all of this because I'm really sick of it tonight on my channel as well, if anyone is interested.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate situation all around. So she was seeing somebody else while you were separated, basically.
I mean, you can just skip that detail. There are thoughts of she was already talking to the guy before I decided to separate, but then she revealed it to me as we were separating. So,
yeah, that's unfortunate, man. I'll be praying for you in that situation there. And yeah, like I said, I mean, doing this show is basically just to try to put an end to it. So, forgive me for my part in adding the stress to that situation there.
I will always forgive you, and always forgive anyone who actually acknowledges. I mean, even if you don't acknowledge, but I urge people to acknowledge that you are doing injustice. I'm not just talking about you, I'm talking about others to continue doing that. You are engaging in injustice, and there is really no reason to do that. But thank you for that. I appreciate that.
So let's go to the next part. And by the way, chat, pray for us as we have this discussion and as I have the next discussion with Thaddeus, because these are sensitive subjects. And I know AP is going to talk about it a little further to try to put some of this stuff to bed later on. But this is stuff that's been being discussed for like the last, year or so. And you're still catechumen, right, AP?
Yeah.
Okay. So pray for both of us as we have this discussion. Hopefully we can reach some level of you know, I mean, I don't think we're ever going to be like best friends, but like just kind of like a, hey, let's not make it harder on each other. I accepted the invitation on the show because you were like, look, I'm attending an Orthodox church. I'm trying the best I can. I'm like, okay, look, I can get that. So let's talk about, you wanted to bring up the other part where I made the initial, this was, I think, the first one when David Wood, this was a little while ago. The context of the first video was he was going to do kind of like attack videos against Orthodoxy. You were on the initial one. And then I acknowledged in the following live stream, I think you actually pushed back on some of his miscategorizations of the Orthodox Church in the following live stream. Is that correct?
I believe so, yeah.
The timeline's so hard to keep track of, dude. But initially, that's what it looked like. It looked like you were going to team up with this guy to basically come against, well, you came against the Ortho Bros first, which in my opinion seems like, well, you could say maybe they came after you first or whatever, right? So we'll be charitable with the language.
Look,
go ahead.
I don't want to necessarily call out or mention specific names, and I'm just saying this not because I think I really shouldn't, because I think I don't want to add more to the drama, but there is something that needs to be talked about, which is there was one person who was a friend of mine several years ago, that is Jay Dyer. For years, I have been nothing but good to Jay Dyer and have said nothing but nice things and respectful things to Jay Dyer. And he also, for years, posted my videos and, you know, linked to my videos and praised the stuff that I do to people. When I decided to enter the Orthodox Church, become a catechumen, he was actually the first person online that I told about this. I texted him and said, hey, I decided to become a catechumen in the Orthodox Church. He was like, wow, really? That was quick. And we talked about it, and I told him I'm going to a Greek church. He told me that Greeks aren't really good and all that. But there was a constant tension between the things that I said as a Christian and things that he and his circle thought. I still thought, okay, you know, we can look past those things. We can have disagreements. We can still be, you know, be friendly and good with each other and all that. At some point, he started attacking me.
Let me just clarify one thing real quick, because Jay's not here to defend himself, but we've done several shows before, you know, and he's actually spoken positively of certain Greek priests and things like this. So I don't want it out there that he somehow is like anti-Greek priest. We actually have a couple in the chat at the moment that frequently.
No, this was, I mean, we publicly talked about this as well. I publicly posted it, and he responded to it as well.
Is it relevant to the entire thing? Because I really don't want to stir up additional situations.
No, I mean, the thing that he said to me was, see, now I don't know how to add context to it without making it worse.
Basically, it spiraled into some kind of a drama that led to some tension between you and the Ortho Bros. Basically, let's
keep it to that. So he advised me to go to certain Orthodox traditions, not to other Orthodox traditions. I decided to go to the Greeks. I kept in touch with him. And we talked back and forth. I took advice from him and so on. Anyway, over time, we had disagreements over the whole Israel issue. I thought we can just disagree with each other and still be friendly. Then he started attacking me. And then I began responding to him. And he insulted me and called me a liar or something like that. I then responded to him and called him a liar.
Let's do this, AP, because he's not here.
No, I get it. Okay, let's skip from the whole Jay Dyer thing. I understand. Let's just say it started with attacks because of my views on certain things, attacks at me, and also honestly with certain objections that I had to the Ortho trend. So we started fighting a little bit. At first, when I became an Orthodox, or when I entered the church, or when I became a catechumen, I started following everyone who is Orthodox. After a while, I realized that we have a very complicated relationship. So I started keeping a little bit of a distance between myself and the Ortho trend, because I realized that when it comes to things that I defend, we end up fighting. I have, despite that, repeatedly defended the Orthodox Church and the teachings of the Orthodox Church and have done so also whenever David Wood said something critical, or whenever people spoke critically of the Orthodox Church to him. I have in the background consistently, and he can confirm this, when problems were brought up to him about the Orthodox Church, I have repeatedly gone to him and tried to explain things to him, and told him, hey, there are different people who will explain things in a better way to you. You shouldn't take this and this and this in the way it is presented to you. The issue of icons, for example, is a very nuanced one. I have repeatedly tried to explain the positions of the Orthodox Church and tell him, hey, listen to people who will tell you how it really is. But we've always had problems between the orthobros, so-called orthobros, and me. The last thing that happened, which is when you brought up that I am attacking orthodoxy, was, now we have to bring it up, the Jay Dyer situation.
Where you said bingo, basically.
Yeah. Where
okay. So now we're up to the point, just for the audience. Now I know that's a lot of back. I don't really want to focus on people that are not in the panel. At least I don't want to talk smack about them. How do I want to? Okay, so basically what happened was bingo was said. David Wood gets upset. Okay, you chime in. A couple of things were said. I don't remember if I still have the screenshots here. I think I do. The initial back and forth was basically David was saying, oh, here you go. All right. So it was this.
Look, if you go into this further, it will just be a lot about what Jay said, what I said, who is right and who is wrong. So
sure. So the initial video that I put out there was basically like, you're attacking orthodoxy. You, David Wood, and who else was in the thumbnail? I think it might have just been you and David. Who remembers? Anyway, so it was because of this initial back and forth here, where it was this calling out of the Ortho Bros. It was saying like they're a cult. They're supporting jihad. This was something David Wood said, not you. David Wood said the Ortho Bros are supporting jihad. Let me find. Oh goodness gracious, Boomer Tech. Was saying the Ortho Bros are supporting jihad. This was during the initial kind of back and forth in this discussion here. So I don't necessarily think somebody saying bingo is supporting jihad. That's why that video went out. And then later, when you actually had a back and forth with David Wood on theological matters, and you were kind of defending the Orthodox tradition a little bit with him, I kind of said I was pleasantly surprised.
I appreciate that, but I don't know why you were surprised. Did you expect me to attack orthodoxy?
Yeah, a little bit. I did. Absolutely.
Why?
Well,
Why?
I mean, you were attacking the Ortho Bros online. I mean, you got to realize from our perspective, from normal people that are looking into this situation, when you're saying things like, "Oh, they're supporting jihadis," and then you have David Wood coming out and he's making statements that are very anti-Orthodox in general. Okay. And then you're coming to bat, kind of backing him up a little bit. It does look like, and I might have been mistaken initially. That's why it's good to have these discussions. It does look like, well, you're backing him up on these other issues here.
Well, there is one detail missing, which I skipped because we said we shouldn't be talking, or we shouldn't talk too much about Jay Dyer, who is not here to defend himself, which David is also not here to defend himself. So maybe we shouldn't do that either. But what's missing is that prior to this, Jay Dyer, all right, let's get into it. I invited Jay Dyer on after he attacked me and we fought for the first time. He knows this very well. I invited him on. We made a big spectacle of a live stream where we are making peace. I offered him peace. We made peace. Everything was good for a while. A few months later, he started attacking me again on many live streams, calling me names and calling me all kinds of things. I ignored it. Until the day that he decided to agree with a notorious, horrible, immoral, filthy Islamist who attacked God Logic Avery.
When he said bingo.
Yeah, that's when he actually endorsed an Islamic jihadist apologist Muslim in order to attack a fellow Christian. And I thought, all right, this has gone too far. So I decided to attack. I decided to call out Jay Dyer for hating every Christian who is successful. That's what I said. It wasn't that I just joined in with David to attack Jay Dyer. I simply made a remark in response to Jay Dyer attacking me for months. Why is it? Why does this get twisted as me attacking Orthobros?
Go ahead.
Why is this being depicted as me attacking Orthobros or the Orthodox Church? He was attacking me the whole time.
You did also make other statements on X though about Ortho Bros specifically though. I could probably find it, but it would take a little bit of looking. I don't know if I necessarily have a screenshot there. But I do recall during this back and forth that those were some things that were said. It was basically you were going against the Ortho Bros and you were saying like, I don't have I'm referring to specific groups specifically. We're talking about Ortho Bros, yada yada. I mean, from my perspective, the Jay Dyer bingo thing, that's kind of minor. It could have been like we could have moved past it. But David Wood did this thing. Granted, you already brought up Jay, so I'll bring up this one thing about David. So David wanted to interject to defend his friend. Basically, that's it. So he wanted to kind of try to take the heat from God Logic because God Logic's just kind of like up and coming guy. So he's like, well, maybe if I take the aggro, it's like if you're playing like an MMO, you know, you go in and you're doing a bunch of things to draw the attention to you. He went a bit too far, and this has been going on and continuing to escalate. And it got to a point where later on he made a video that was basically like the Orthodox Church is run by like Putin or something. Is like basically like ran by Putin. I forget the exact context of that video, but he's sharing like gay journalists. And he was doing it in like a tongue-in-cheek way where he's like, look, I'm only sharing these because I forget exactly what Jay did. He shared some like journalist thing that was, or he shared some sources that David didn't think were the strongest. So that justified him.
I can tell you what David was actually doing there. I know you said that he was trolling. He wasn't trolling. He actually explained very well what he was doing, and I appreciate that people who don't follow all the live streams might not know about this. But he actually said in advance to his audience and to me as well that what he is preparing is the following. He thinks the Jay Dyer and the others think it is okay to, by association, make connections and depict people as enemies of orthodoxy because they have supported somebody who supported somebody who was debating with an Orthodox Christian. So here, let me do the same thing. Let me simply draw some connections and then conclude that these Orthobros are all puppets of Russia. I don't believe that they are puppets of Russia, but if it's so easy to draw connections, let me do the same thing. So that's basically what he did. Now, you may agree with his method or disagree with it, but that's basically what he was doing. So
you know what happened right after that live stream?
What?
I used to be a non-denominational pastor, and I had a really good relationship with the elders and previous senior pastor of my old church. You know, we're good friends, that kind of thing. Some of them are kind of older, but they like to watch, David Wood stuff. Some of them do, at least. One of the elders from my previous church literally called me and was like, why did you leave to go join Putin church? This was a conversation I'm forced to have and he was so serious. He's like, you don't understand. Orthodoxy's all controlled by Vladimir Putin. You've been brainwashed to join this cult. And these are conversations. I know it sounds ridiculous, but these are conversations I'm having to have in my personal life because of I think it's trolling. I mean, you could say like he's doing it. It's justified because of some association Jay made or something, but it's putting forth. It's funny to talk about, but it's you don't want Cleve. Why are you going to Putin church, dude? You can't be doing that. I'm sorry. Putin sent me 50 Dugan coin. I had to go to Putin church. But anyway,
you see how it goes both ways, though. I actually want to point out one thing. So you have consistently maintained that that God Logic helped people attack the Orthodox Church because he sent his audience to God Logic 2.0, which, by the way, doesn't belong to him, but has his profile picture, to be fair, which then sent his audience over to JP Uncut, who was at that point talking to an Orthodox Christian or an inquiring Orthodox Christian, something like that. So God logic is depicted as a secret opponent to the Eastern Orthodox Church because he sent his audience down a line. But Jay Dyer is at no fault because he clearly and directly endorsed a horrible person who is an Islamic jihadist defender who attacks Christians and calls Christ all kinds of names all the time.
So you think it's the same thing to say bingo to a Twitter post than to
Yes.
send your entire audience to go watch a catechumen get gaslit?
Yes, because when Jay Dyer,
I think that's
because when
delusional.
when Jay Dyer reposts something that this Muslim said with his endorsement of bingo, his entire audience is exposed to that in an approving way, and so people then go down and watch a jihadist apologist attack Christians, and Jay Dyer joins in on that and fuels and approves of that. What's really the difference?
The difference is somebody sending their entire audience to a channel. That is an actual endorsement of the content going on in that channel.
And Jay Dyer
saying bingo to a guy is an endorsement of everything that guy's ever done, rather than sending your entire audience to a stream in which that's actively taking place.
Is God Logic sending his audience down to God Logic 2 and God Logic 2 sending it over to JP Uncut, endorsing everything that JP Uncut did?
Who is life sent everybody over there, right?
Yeah. Does that mean that God Logic, by extension, approves of everything that JP Uncut ever did?
Does that mean no? But what he's doing in the moment, no.
Not even
that would technically be life. That would technically be life using God Logic's audience to promote that stuff. But you do realize God Logic could put a stop to that, right? Like he could say, like, "Hey, don't use my platform for that." That'd be a very simple.
Why would he do that? Well, God Logic probably wasn't even aware of what JP Uncut was doing at the time.
Okay. Well, do you think that it's fair for people to point that out, though, that that's what the platform is being used for?
I mean, you could point it out. I just do not think that God Logic is at any fault there at all. And he also doesn't want to talk about it because you know what happened this morning? Sam Shamoun started attacking God Logic's wife, calling her a gold digger and a whore. You know what God Logic is doing in response? Nothing. Because he does not want to engage in any drama, as bad as it gets. This is just what God Logic does. He doesn't want to engage in any of the drama, no matter whom they are attacking. He just wants to focus on doing what he does. And if he likes people that who stream or whom he has collaborated with, he just sends his audience over to support those people. That's it. It doesn't matter to him that at the moment JP Uncut was talking to an Orthodox Christian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily buy that because a lot of the stuff that he says in the background kind of seems to point in that he's backing up a specific party. I mean, I don't necessarily even want to get into this. I think, well, we just talked about some of the stuff in the last live stream, didn't we? Where he was basically saying, well, actually, no, this was Thaddeus discussing this, and I'll bring this up when we have a talk with him, where he's basically saying, oh, you need to cut, oh yeah, I'm not gonna do anything else with Sam, yada yada yada. But then on the surface is kind of just like leaving everything alone. And this isn't even Sam talking about this. This is Thaddeus bringing.
But what does it have to do with his stance on orthodoxy?
No, it's two separate things. It's just talking about a pattern of behavior, right? So you're saying
Sam thinks that.
Hold on one moment. You're saying he doesn't involve himself in the drama, maybe not publicly, but in the background, absolutely. And that's what we were calling out initially: is that his platform is being used to prop up anti-Orthodox voices, and it's not even anti-Orthodox voices in general. I don't mind people pushing back on the theology. What I do mind is guys like JP who are bringing these like inquirers on. They aren't even catechumens. It's just like an inquirer, somebody that's vaguely interested in orthodoxy. They rant at them for like an hour. He sends them a text and he says, okay, so now are you going to keep inquiring into orthodoxy? And the guy's like, well, you talked at me for an hour, so I guess not. I mean, 2 minutes later, they talk to anybody else. They're right back inquiring. But then he goes out and he posts, oh, we got another one. We got another scalp, another ortho inquirer scalp. And these are the platforms that are being propped up. I find that to be an issue. Now,
go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, if all of that somehow makes God Logic a bad guy and an enemy of Orthodox Christianity, by that logic, doesn't that make me a hero of Orthodox Christianity? Considering that I went on 2 live streams with JP Uncut, and I firmly and aggressively discussed with him and told him how wrong he is, and debated with him and argued that that his critiques of Orthodox Christianity and of icon veneration are completely wrong. But doesn't that make me a hero of Orthodox Christianity?
For the sake of peace, I will now refer to you only as the hero of Orthodoxy. for the sake of wrapping this up and for peace, I will now only refer to you as the hero of Orthodoxy. I think we've, well, you know, I know. Did you have something else that you wanted to bring up about that, or?
Not about that specifically, but you brought up one point, which is that so Sam made it look like he was telling God Logic to distance himself from both Sam and David Wood, but God Logic didn't want to do that. He decided to distance himself from Sam, but not from David. Look, Sam is not the boss here. I
don't want to open up another can of worms right at the end. I do have Thaddeus coming on in like 15 minutes. The entire purpose of this, the entire purpose of the discussion here was to get to this end point. So we've discussed a couple of things. You've clarified what's going on with the marriage situation. Please chat, pray for Ridvan, pray for his ex, pray for the children, pray for all that, and also for his continued catechumenate. We have strong disagreements on Israel. We have strong disagreements on other things, but I think we can call it a day and say, look. And this is more like a question to you. I don't want to speak on your behalf, but I think we can try as Christians, as people who are striving towards Christ, whether or not things have been said on my side, which I would grant. Things have been said on Sam's side, I would grant. Things have been said on your side, I would grant. Whatever. We've all said things. Are you willing, for the sake of maybe moving forward with this? I know you said you wanted to do a show to clarify some stuff with the ex and that kind of thing, but are you willing to just kind of like let's try to put an end to the endless drama cycle? And I'll do my part to do the same thing. I'm not going to bring up you or your ex. I'm not going to bring up any of that stuff. If there's a theological disagreement, perhaps it's a subject we can broach in the future. But what are your thoughts on that, Ridvan?
I mean, I think that we have talked about and clarified quite a few things here, and I've also come to a mutual understanding that there are misunderstandings and and so on and so forth. Between you and me, I have never had much against you. I have generally tried to abstain a little bit from the whole ortho-bro trend fight online and all that. Between you and me, we can put everything behind and just move forward and be, not engage in any of the drama. I speak to David about this in the back the whole time. I just recently talked to him about it, that there is no benefit, no use in doing any of this. So I'm totally fine speaking strictly for us. And
now Sam has said that he would stop if everybody over there would stop attacking him. Would you be willing to at least try that for the sake of peace? Now, if he goes back on it, like, let's say, like, okay, I don't think that's likely. I think he's going to get upset about something and maybe attack or whatever the case may be.
Dude, I'm telling you, you don't know the guy. I'm telling you, he is the one who attacks us. We're not the ones who are attacking him.
Well, I'm
gonna tell you something, okay? And he can come here and testify to that. It is true. As his fight with Jay Dyer was intensifying, and he was calling Jay Dyer all kinds of things that he usually calls people, I messaged him and I sent him a voice message and I said, dude, please stop doing this. This was before I cut ties with him. I said, stop doing this. I know you are probably mostly in the right, and I agree with you on most things, but you are going too far attacking Jay and his wife and all that. Please stop doing that. What he said to me was, no, you're right, brother. You're right. I won't do it anymore. You're right, brother. Thank you. I won't do it anymore. 5 minutes later, he went live and started calling Jay Dyer and his wife prostitutes. This is how he is. I will always try and make peace with people. I've always maintained that attitude. There is no peace to be made with him. I think at this point it has almost come to the place where we draw a line, and I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
This is the thing though. So he's come on the show. He said that he'd be willing to stop if you guys did. So I mean, I think we can at least say, look, the offer's been made. The offer's been made on one side. David Wood said in his show last night, he said, look, if Sam stopped, I would stop. That's what he,
I'm sure. Did he stop? He went live today.
That's what I'm saying. If everybody can agree to just, hey, look, we all know, you know, it's not necessarily difficult. He admits it himself. Sometimes he can be hot-headed. I don't know him like that. I'm not his best friend or anything like that. I'm just saying for the sake of peace, could we maybe move on from at least the constant character attacks and these types of stuff? I know it's not you necessarily.
I'm always ready to stop
with the next gentleman.
Can you please do something? If you can share your screen for a second here, to give you a better understanding.
I don't want to get into character attacks, Sam.
It's not a character attack.
I'm just
to give you an understanding of stopping. But okay, you can do it later on yourself. Open his live stream page, then open David's live stream page, and open my live stream page. You will see exactly who is attacking who and who is not stopping. I'm completely fine with stopping. I think so many of us could be doing great work all the time, focusing on actual things that need to be talked about. Instead, we spend our times being distracted by things that Sam Shamoun says about us. We don't want to respond to it. Eventually, we end up responding. I am not happy or willing to fight. I will stop any moment. As soon as he stops, if he attacks any one of us, I will immediately jump in and respond again. I don't want him to respond to me. I don't want him to talk to anybody.
It sounds like from what you're saying, you are on board. If he did stop, you would stop.
Of course, I have always been on board. But if he attacks any of us, I will immediately jump in and fight back. That's how it will go.
I think that's a step forward. So you're saying if he stops, you'll stop. I think that's a fine enough place to leave it there.
Sure.
Does that sound good?
Sure.
All right. I really do appreciate you coming on the show, man. I want to encourage the audience. Please pray for Ridvan. Pray for me. Pray for Sam. You know, and David and anybody else we've mentioned in this chat here. I am going to have Thaddeus coming up in just a moment to air out some things. I do appreciate you being willing to have this chat with me.
Can I say a few things? Just to conclude. Just peaceful and good things. No more fighting. Well, first off, I thank you very, very much for sitting down and doing this. I prepared all day to be in the mood of just trying to keep calm and addressing things in a good and faithful way. Secondly, I want to make certain things clear. I am trying my best to be a Christian. And I want to say a few things, not because I'm trying to act as a good Christian. I'm probably a terrible Christian. I am trying to do my best, but one of the best things would be if people in public and people online encouraged each other and also encouraged me to be a better Christian, rather than attacking and encouraging me to be hostile or encouraging others to be hostile. I think the best thing you can do, and the best thing that people could do to me, because I'm so terrible, is to teach me and tell me how to be a better Christian. I'm trying my best. I've spent the last few years trying to engage in prayer and reading everything about the Orthodox Church, visiting the sites of saints and others. I am on board with your church, and I go to, at this point, an Antiochian church, actually. I would ask everyone to pray. I would ask everyone to stop hating and stop engaging in the hating and the attacks that are going on. You might not agree with me on one or two things that I do. That's fine. I don't agree with you on other things. Sure. You might think I'm a Zionist or Jewish shill. I think Rabbinic Judaism is a false religion. I think it's a false religion. I think Jews are wrong. I think Jews are misled and are actually, and they should all become Christians. I think it is better for them to become Christians. The Apostle Paul said that God will eventually bring reconciliation. St. John Chrysostom said that this is supposed to be happening at some point in the future. I think that should be happening through Christ. Yet I'm still friendly with them, and I still help them while believing that their religion is false. And I believe that your religion is correct. I believe that our faith is the correct faith. But the way to uphold and to instill this correct faith in people is not to attack each other, it's to help each other and to pray for each other and to be good examples. We are all sinners, of which I am possibly the worst, but I can do a better job. You can do a better job. And I ask everyone else to pray and to also try and do a better job.
Wonderful. All right, everybody, make sure you pray for AP. Thank you for coming and having this discussion with me, Ridvan.
Thank you. God bless you.
God bless. All right, we've got Thaddeus coming up here in just a little bit. I'll read through some of these super chats. I mean, just keep everybody in prayer. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. You know, we're trying to see what we can do. Maybe this is a naive thought. Maybe it's naive of me to think that you know, we can turn down the temperature. But you know, at least we have to try. This will be my one attempt. Then after this, I plan on moving on to other things. But I think that was a productive enough conversation. Lots of disagreements, some clarifications, some forgiveness was had. There you go. You know I'm Orthodox, right? Then forgive Sam as Orthodox Christian. Pray for Sam. Leave Sam to the Lord. Lord of mercy on us all. My spiritual father said blank, and I argued. Well, you know, we're all at a different point in our journey. Make sure you pray for him. That was one of the reasons I wanted to bring him on, was because he had said, basically, you know, hey, you know, I'm a fellow struggler in the faith, etc. You know, yada, yada. Ridvan, you want to debate Israel with Benjamin Michael? That would be an interesting chat. And we agree Islam is evil, but you're pleading one lesser evil is a good force. It's not. Yeah, I don't think there's a dialectic between the two. You know, you don't have to say if you think Israel's bad that Islam is good or something. Like, this is more like, in my opinion, boomer propaganda. But you can have a nuanced take on it. What is an old nun to think when Muslims are leaving our churches alone in this region and Jews are bombing and mosques kill weddings in our church? Lord of mercy. She's not GOC. No, she is. I believe she is a GOC nun. So I think she is GOC, yes. How is what AP doing not justifying the death of innocent people, including Orthodox Christians in the West Bank and Gaza? To be fair to him, he was saying, yeah, I don't know. He's not here. I don't want to. Okay. Something about calling out splinters while ignoring one's own planks. I'll pray for him in me. He's just using your channel to repeat Hasbara talking points. This is fruitless. We certainly do disagree on the pro-Israel stuff. I wouldn't mind having a friendly discussion with him at another point on some of our disagreements on this subject. I had some other media that I wanted to play. There are statements, especially by like Bibi Netanyahu, saying that he wants to wage an information war in the United States and these other things. So that is one massive point of disagreement with us. I mean, I think he understands, though, despite his views of this person, that tweet was wrong, which is why he took it down. So appeal to fallacy. Russia propaganda. Yeah, that's why I laughed. How about posters during elections where Bibi is depicted shaking Putin's hand? Yeah. I wouldn't shed a tear if she was killed. Do you not realize it's the exact kind of hatred that's condemned in Orthodoxy? You receive communion we can't receive communion while actively saying this about your sister. Well, a couple of things here. She's GOCK, but yes, I agree. Shouldn't have hatred against other people. It seems like he understands that to a point. I do agree some of the statements are problematic, though. I agree Sam's words are horrible. Also, DW mirrors him by joining slanderous Protestant podcast attacking EO because EO pressed him on his position. Good grief. We appreciate, there you go, Alex, good to see you. We appreciate you're willing to come on the show and talk about this, AP. When we stop talking to each other is when the problems start escalating. God bless you and your catechumen. It may carry you to its completion. There you go. Yeah, pray for AP. Bro cheat on his wife and acts as if it's not the court making him give her money. So I think this was sent before his clarification that he's saying he started dating this. Well, separation, divorce. I'll leave it at that. You can come up to your own conclusions about that. I didn't leave my wife, proceeds to explain. Good grief. Thank you for your input, Saxon. Remember when our greatest ally, Bibi, The USS Liberty. Pepperidge Farm remembers. Yeah, that's wild. So AP's a dude that's a sinner, no sense in Yeah, there you go. Neither he or us glorifies Jesus, allowing emotions to rule over us. Lord of mercy. Hey, AP, have you ever done anything wrong? I never once seen you take accountability, not for your Zionism, nor for your marriage. Well, at the end, fast forward to the very end and some of the closing statements there. I think that was a good end note to end it on. Your first reaction is to condemn and not pray for the nun. You're doing it wrong. I think that certainly is the beneficial route. And there are other ways you can criticize that person's, even if you were to look at her and say, like, she's absolutely supporting this organization or something. There are other ways to call out the way that she's wrong. And I think he gets that, which is why he deleted the tweet. But yeah, it's not good, not great optics. Yeah, AP himself posted his priest will not be allowed baptism whatsoever. AP wanted to go to a different jurisdiction because of it. So which is it? I'm not sure. Every saint and elder in church history refused communion for lacking care for another human. By the way, no one's falling for your semantic trick. I don't care if she dies, but I don't want her to die is a convenient way to cover up. That's not nice. 17 gnomes currently on their way. What does that mean? 17 gnomes? I don't get that. AP so far. Well, I would conceive Cleve bad. None bad, Habas bad. BB good. BB's my best friend. BB Netanyahu. We love Israel. So based. AP teams up with rabbinics like Josh and Joseph Cohen to defend the Talmud as well as endorsed rabbis. Well, that was kind of the comparison that we were drawing earlier with the Israel thing. So I think there could be a greater discussion to be had on that in the future, maybe. That's gross. I'm not reading that super chat. Thank you for supporting the show, though. Since the prots you surround yourself with and Muslims are iconoclasts and say we worship the Theotokos and the saints, does that mean you're aligned with? No, because Muslims are iconoclasts. Yeah, I brought that up in another live stream. I was like, that would be the best way to win over David Wood to orthodoxy. Is if you were to say, look, you're supporting the Dawa guys by being an iconoclast. They also don't like icons. Look, don't you see? If you really want to stick it to the Muslims, you gotta kiss the icons. That's what you gotta do. That's the pro tier evangelism strat. Is to say like you being an iconoclast is supporting Islam or something. I swear Cleve had AP on to use a super chat rage bait. Good grief. No, that's not nice. The Ortho David Wood third impact event. The bingo that shook the world, shook the entire world. Drinks water. You drink water. You endorse. Good grief. I appreciate your good faith combo with AP. I tried, dude. I spent time in prayer before we talked. I even lit incense, candles, the whole thing. So, pray for us. I think that's really what we need. I need prayer. I'm not a perfect guy. We all have our things. He may be deluded about the Zio stuff. Yeah, we would disagree on that. Other things, but he's a genuine guy. This conversation, one of the things that can help lead him to change. God bless Cleve. Well, I'm glad he came on to do the talk. And with as rocky as it started, I think it actually ended up pretty good. How can we convert the Jews when Avery keeps sending people to Messianic rabbi? That would be one thing. That would be one serious thing that I would critique. And I meant to bring this up to AP, but I think it would derail. So not a big deal. I just got here. What did I miss? A lot, maybe an hour and a half of stuff. But that being said, we have our next guest on the show. We've got Mr. Thaddeus from Reason Answers. I'm going to bring him up. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to come on. I understand that, there's going to be a hostile audience at least. We'll see how hostile you personally are, but I understand the audience will be hostile. But I'm happy to come on and have these kinds of conversations, and I thank you for the opportunity.
Well, I'm happy that you decided to come on. I know yesterday y'all had a little bit of fun on Apologetics Roadshow. Some things were said, but it is what it is. I just want to encourage the audience before we even talk. Audience, could you do me a favor? Could everybody just say a prayer for Thaddeus and say a prayer for me as we dive into this discussion? Because ultimately, at the end of this, what we really want to have happen is some semblance of, I don't know, maybe peace is too naive, but maybe turning the temperature down a little bit would be beneficial. So the goal of this discussion isn't to promote or open new and can perpetuate the drama cycle, but maybe to put a nice bow on it. I know some things were brought up in the interview that you would like to address, Thaddeus. Now, what I really don't want to have happen is, because I see this cycle that is continuing, and it seems to have no end. One thing is said, the other party gets upset about it. Stream takes place. The other party gets upset about it. Another stream takes place, and it continues to amplify, so on and so forth. Now, a lot of this stuff was already responded to last night with
sure, but that's not for your audience. And I'm happy to address whatever specific things you want. I will say this at the start: if you had a conversation with Sam like you just had with AP, I wouldn't be here, right? I don't have a problem with you pushing back. In fact, that's exactly what I wanted to happen with Sam. But what actually happened is that you let Sam come on, and some of the topics were the topics you wanted to talk about. You obviously are in agreement about those already before the show, but he repeatedly brought up things that you didn't want to talk about, and you let him steamroll you and talk about those things, attack my character, attack David's character, attack Apostate Prophet's character, attack God Logic's character, attack. And then you didn't push back at all. But then AP comes on and you say, I don't want to talk about someone who's not here. That's the entirety of your show was talking about people who weren't there. Well, by design, and then you let him do whatever he wanted as well. So I'm only talking about you right now. I'm talking about your actions.
There you go.
And you're
that's fine. I mean, you can attack me for being a hypocrite. There you go. We'll grant it. We'll say that I am a hypocrite. Please forgive me for my hypocrisy, Thaddeus.
So I'm happy to address whatever specific things you want, but the things that I want to talk about are specific things Sam said that are lies. And my intention is to point out that they are lies.
On the stream that we did.
On the stream that you did, not anywhere else, only on the stream you did.
Okay, because I don't want to get into anything other than that. But we could talk about this. All right, so this was the stream from last night. Cleave to Deception. This was like a 6-hour discussion. You guys are discussing about numerous subjects. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I didn't watch all. I
wouldn't have expected you to
watch all 6 hours of this. I watched very briefly. You guys kind of skimmed over some of the stuff that we were discussing, which is, it is what it is. I know we had this discussion. You were going to try to clarify a couple of things on here. So
like I said, whatever you want me to address, I'm happy to address, but there are things that I want to address as well. It's up to you how you want to do this.
Sure. Let me put this here though. The ultimate goal behind all of this is to be this is it. I don't want to continue to do the back and forth. The escalation of this has gone way too far. So before you interject, let me just I'm going to show a few things. I'm so sorry. Reasoned what? Reasoned answers. There you go. Sorry, my AC is busted, so I'm like, I'm super hot right now.
Brain not working all the way.
It's like 80 degrees, so I'm running on dial-up at the moment, brain wise. All right, so let's take a look at this. So the drama has gotten absolutely wild. The last couple of videos, well, really, it's all been Sam.
That's correct.
Sam. Even in the video, this is the live stream section. Sam Shamoun. Yeah, he beats his wife. He doesn't love his daughters. This was you responding to the other thing, which was
so that one's about me. That one's not really about him, but it is because of him. Yes.
Right. This is Sam and Malik. Sam, you're dumb. Sam's this, Sam's that. Now, granted, things have been said back and forth, But I think ultimately at the end of the day, there's got to be some way to turn the temperature down, because this cycle isn't necessarily the most healthy. I mean, would you agree? And I know you would say it's
I
Sam's fault.
100% agree it's not healthy. Now, that doesn't mean that there's a better way. But I am open to the possibility that there is a better way to handle it. But just because something is bad doesn't mean that it shouldn't be done, or, is not healthy, or is not good for your personal life and your brain chemistry or whatever. Doesn't necessarily mean it shouldn't be done, because the reason I'm doing these videos, so that you let Sam give a background. I will be very brief, but let me just give some background as to how I got to where I am. Okay. So I've been doing online Christian apologetics, focused on Islam, for 8 or 9 years. And when I was first getting introduced to this, I've always been interested in Christian apologetics my entire life. I'd never imagined being a public speaker. Apparently God had other plans for me. Very strange stuff. Anyway, when I got introduced to Islam, I realized that there was a need to say something about Islam, because all religions that are not the true religion, Christianity, are false. They're all evil by nature, but Islam is unique in the depravity that it teaches. And over time, felt like I was more and more called to do this. Now, from the very beginning, 8 years ago, all right, Sam was already well known at the time. I did not like him. I did not want to have anything to do with him. And I didn't say anything public about that, other than, like, if someone asked me in the comments, what's your opinion on Sam? And I'd say, I don't care for him. I don't think that you should watch his content, or something like that. But that would be the extent of my comments on him. A year ago, I lost my job. As you know, you interviewed me about this, for criticizing Islam. And I became acquainted with Aisha, the woman who was tricked into a temporary marriage with Muhammad Hijab. That's not what she was promised. She was given something entirely different, but she was tricked into it. I was heavily involved in her case. I eventually befriended her personally. And as a result, all of my content was about sexual abuse, right? It was about abuse victims, so on. Then in the fall, the revelations came out that Sam was involved with abusing his wife. And I said, I need to say something. He's my peer. I can't not say something about Sam when these allegations are out there. And I'm criticizing Muhammad Hijab for the same thing, the same kind of thing, not identical, of course, but the same kind of thing.
Now he's come out and said that these things aren't true, and I'm not necessarily.
Well, I mean, of course, he said they're not true.
I'm not necessarily interested in, and
I wasn't going to talk about the subject. I'm just giving the background. That's all I was going to say on it. That's how I got involved. I did a few videos in the fall, 4 or 5 videos, all of them on abuse, right? All of them on abuse. One just on how to understand the cycle of abuse, although it was in the context of talking about Sam. It was purely on how to understand the cycle of abuse.
Well,
and then I dropped it. I didn't say anything else about Sam for months.
And it continues to go back and forth. So he says something, you make another video. You say something, he makes a video, and it perpetuates this cycle.
No. So I was almost done. So I made the 4 or 5 in the fall. I drop it. I don't say anything else. David drops it. He doesn't say anything else. Sam, I didn't even know at the time because I was paying no attention to him. He continues to attack me and attack David for months and months and months and months. Eventually, we're working on the Malik case, and it becomes obvious that Sam has befriended Malik, or Malik has befriended Sam, whatever. And thus, Sam's name is starting to come back up. Sam immediately starts attacking not me, not David, because he was already attacking us, but starting attacking people who had nothing to do with the circumstances that were our friends. And so we said, okay, it's time to talk about Sam again. And then, yes, since then it's been the back and forth.
So this has been a perpetual cycle, though. It's kind of starting to spiral out of control. There was this was the subject of the video yesterday. So this was the main subject here. Where this discussion here, you went on to David Wood's show. You said that it was not your intention to dox Sam. This is the message. I can
Yes.
give this, so again, for context for those that are just viewing. This is Sam's friend messaging Thaddeus. Okay. And this is Thaddeus responding. Says,
Yes.
I can give
So,
you go.
correct.
Yeah,
Yes,
let me go ahead, and then you can.
Okay,
you can
sorry.
chime in. Says, I can give you all of Sam's info. You can dox him privately. Trust me, yada yada. This is only the tip of the oceanberg, if you know him personally. And this is your response here. It's not really doxing in private. Person says, so you're going to do it publicly. Yes, the info would be useful. I know what Sam is capable of. I'm in contact with multiple people who used to be a part of his life. So I'm not really interested in the I'm in contact with multiple people part. The part that I'm interested in is how we got to this point, because this really does look like you want to get his information, because the context of this text is you can dox him privately. So you're going to do it publicly. It's not really
And I'm
doxing
happy
private.
to address that. But for you to suggest that this was the main subject is inaccurate, right? You spend a long time going after various people on the program and letting Sam say whatever.
Well, then
I'm happy to address this. And you also frame this as if this is what elevated the heat of the situation.
This is where it's gone too far in my position. This is where it's gone too far.
Okay, so it wasn't too far when Sam was attacking my family?
Well, I think you can continue to escalate, and it's gotten really, really far. Things have been said on both sides.
Yeah, but you said this exact moment is going to
Thaddeus, look, I'm not really interested in the my sister hit me. It's her fault that I hit her back. Like,
I'm not blaming Sam for any of my actions. I'm fully accountable for my actions. But I'm talking about you framing the situation incorrectly.
Thaddeus, look, my intention here is that we can come together as adults and we could discuss a resolution to this, because it's gotten to a point where it's extremely unhealthy.
Yep.
This is the last time I'm even going to try to chime in on this, because I would like to see if we can move on, because there are better things that we could be doing. And I know you agree with this. You're going to say, well, it's Sam that continues.
I do agree with that,
etc. But there are better things we could focus our time on. So if we can work together,
actually, if I could address that point.
Okay, so
I agree that there are many important things to talk about, but I don't actually agree with you that the only important thing to talk about is theology. I think character is actually more important than theology. So I just want to clarify that I think character is more important. I think that's backed by scripture, that even if you have perfect theology and you have poor character, that does you no benefit. So to suggest that character doesn't really matter and it's an unimportant issue, I don't think it's true, but that's all I need to say about it.
Okay. That's something though. You're not his priest, right? I mean, are
you God Logic's priest?
Let's dive into this before we dive into.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Okay. I'm happy to address this.
We can get sidetracked, and then this will be a huge waste of time conversation.
Yeah.
And I don't want that.
That's fine. I am perfectly happy.
Tell me what your intention was here, because from Sam's perspective, he says this is you attempting to dox him. It does seem like that from my perspective, because the context of this is you can dox him privately. It's not really doxing in private. Yes, the info would be useful. Why don't you explain?
Okay. Here's the sequence of events. I get a strike on my YouTube channel for playing a clip of Sam's speech. I appeal it. The appeal is denied. I talk to customer service automatically. So I've determined that everything in YouTube is basically automated. So I get an automated strike, an automated deny of my appeal. I talk to customer support, and they put in an appeal that I believe was actually reviewed by a human, because it wasn't denied in 5 seconds like the other one was. But that was also denied. So I made a message to Team YouTube, because in our experience, messaging Team YouTube on X will get new attention on an issue and often will resolve it. So I made a message to them. I said that I got a strike for playing speech that is currently up on YouTube on someone else's channel. I agree, it is hateful speech. However, your rules specifically allow you to play someone's speech for the purposes of criticism. If my clip is a violation, then surely the original clip is a violation. Sam got upset about that, but that's beside the point. Saying that I was trying to get him removed from YouTube. Someone, as a result of that message, contacted me and said that you do realize the reason that Sam is not getting a strike is because his relative works for YouTube, works in the trust and safety department. And so I said, if you can prove that, contact me and give me more information. So they do contact me and they repeat the story, more details, but same basic story. And then at the end, they're like, I decided I can't give you the name because the person will know that probably I'm the only one who knows it. They'll figure out who said it. But you can probably figure it out if you try hard enough, which not exactly consistent. But I've learned from having conversations with people that oftentimes they will be, very reserved and shut down for understandable reasons. And then if they learn to trust you, they will be more open about sharing information. The only reason I wanted that information from the beginning, and you can even see this in the screenshot that Sam shared, which is only he only shared a very tiny portion of the conversation. But even in one of the screenshots he shared, you can see where I said, I'm writing to Team YouTube. Do you have the information that I can give to them? That was the only reason I wanted any information. Now here, after that, initial conversation, so I asked later, right after I had in theory gained their trust, but obviously there was a setup from the beginning. But nonetheless, after they gave that, then they started messaging, and this is only a small portion. They actually sent probably like 8 or 10 messages talking about how they have all Sam's info. It's much worse than you realize, blah, 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 blah. And then they say, you can dox him in private. And I responded, LOL, it's not doxing if it's in private, right? Was that a poor choice of wording? Yes, it was. I acknowledge that was a poor choice of wording. But I just thought it was silly that they're calling it doxing to send someone's information in private. I should have been clear about my intentions in the conversation. I acknowledge that. I just thought it was funny that they said that. And then I said, yeah, go ahead and send me what you think will be useful. I understand that looks like I'm potentially requesting Sam's private info. I'm the only one who knows my motives. And my motives were not to ever share that information with anyone. I couldn't care less what Sam's information is. I allowed them to send me that information because I was trying to gain their trust so that they would give me the information that was actually useful and valuable potentially, which was, who is this person who is abusing their authority at YouTube? And the only person I was going to share that with was YouTube. So I don't think that requesting information to report to the proper authorities is doxing.
So you say that you were only going to accept Sam's private information so you could gain their trust so that you could get the actual information which would be useful for Team YouTube.
Yes. And I understand that there's no way for me to prove that. It's my word versus the screenshot, right? Or your interpretation of the screenshot, or how you think about the screenshot without seeing any of the rest of the conversation, without understanding how I operate. My purpose was that he was going to send me this information, which he thinks I'll share publicly. He'll see that I don't abuse it. I don't misuse Sam's information. And then he'll realize that no one's going to find out that he gave me information, and thus there'll be no repercussions with him, because he said that he was scared for his life, he didn't say for his life, sorry. He said that he was scared that the person would know and that they would take revenge on him.
So in the discussion, so this is basically where we're at. So in the discussion in which it's stating, I can give you the information, you can dox him privately. It's not doxing in private. So you're going to do it publicly. Yes, the information would be useful. You're only accepting his information in the context of a discussion on doxing somebody so that you can gain this person's trust. But you're claiming you didn't actually have the
no.
Wait, let me finish. Okay. You're claiming you didn't actually have the intention of doxing him. That's just what this discussion was about. You were only accepting the information to gain his trust.
Okay, so first of all, I need to clarify that the "but yes" message I was typing simultaneously as the "so you're going to do it publicly." It wasn't actually a response to that. It was a continuation of my previous message. If you look at the timestamps, they have the same exact timestamp. The "yes" was not a response to the "you're doing it publicly." I was not trying to imply that I was going to do it publicly. So it's not really doxing in private, but yes, the info would be useful is what I was trying to say. But because they replied at the same time, the thoughts are out of order.
Look, I'm gonna be blunt with you. This is the way that it looks to me. So you're telling me on one hand you're gathering this information. I'm gonna try to be very respectful when I say this, Thaddeus.
Yeah.
You're telling me on one hand that you're gathering this private information, which could be used to dox him. But you're asking me to trust you that you wouldn't use that information to dox him, because what you're really doing is you're baiting this person into trusting you.
I'm not baiting them.
Well, you want him to trust you. Let's use different terminology. You want him to trust you so he could send you the actual information, which would be useful for you to send to Team YouTube to get Sam's channel taken down, not dox him. But the context of this screenshot, though, is dox. Can you see where someone might doubt your story?
Oh, I understand why someone would think that. Like I said, I understand that I should have been more explicit. I should have made a message saying I won't share anything publicly or something along those lines. And to be perfectly honest, I thought that in my head, and I made a poor choice of judgment because I wanted the person to send info, right? And so if they're thinking if they're wanting me to share it, and they're thinking I'm going to share it, and I acknowledge this is wrong. Okay. I acknowledge that this is wrong. But I'm in my head, I'm thinking I'm like going back and forth. Should I say I won't share it publicly? And then I was like, it doesn't matter. I don't need to say it. I think I should have said it. But I was never intending to share it publicly. I understand, and people can believe me or not believe me. I'm a person of integrity. I stand by my reputation and what I've just said and done publicly. And if people trust me, they trust me. If they don't trust me, they don't trust me. I'm not going to be bringing people's private messages to vindicate myself or do anything like that, because that's not where I am. Now, I am happy to show you other parts of this conversation if you want, because this is, as far as I'm concerned, it's not a private message. This is not genuine conversation. This was a setup from the beginning. And Sam made public tweets 10 days before he got these messages saying that he knew that I was trying to dox him. He said he just anonymously got this email, but he also made messages saying that he knew this was coming. So how does he know it's coming? And simultaneously, just some innocent party. He talked
this was his friend reaching out to you, so he wanted to verify whether or not you were doing this, and it seems like you were.
Verify. That's a very interesting interpretation. So you agree, though, that it might be Sam's friend. He said he swore that he didn't know
he said that was the case on the stream that we did the other day.
I don't think he said that, but if he did, then
that's what he said.
He also swore elsewhere that he had no idea who the person was.
Neither here nor there. We look at this.
Well, I think that's very important. I think you're just mistaken, honestly. I don't think he said it was his friend.
Maybe.
I think his story is that he has no idea who this person is.
Either way, if that is the case, though, and look, I could just sit here and hammer this point home, but I don't think that's going to get us anywhere. I think anybody watching this can come to the same conclusion that I'm coming to. If we've gotten to the point where we're messaging people that are going to give us somebody's address, this type of information, we've gotten to this point in the back and forth drama. Regardless of how we got here, we've gone way too far. There has to be a way to turn the temperature down, Thaddeus. We have to. This is not something that we can be engaging in. Whether or not this was something where look, I don't want to do it too cloak way and say, well, look at what Sam said. He's gotten upset. He's done this. He said this about me, etc. We could talk about what we talked about in the interview. But what I'm saying is, as Christians, we have to, or at least people who profess to be Christians, we have to be able to turn the temperature down, because if we're attempting to, or at least accepting, I'll choose my words very specifically, accepting someone's private information But we're promising we're not going to. Well, you didn't even promise that here. You're saying this after the fact. But you're assuring us now on this live stream you're not going to release this information. To me, that it seems like, from my perspective, the back and forth has gotten too intense. Things have gotten personal. Okay, what can I get on Sam? Somebody's offering me this information. Okay, let's press forward with this information. Maybe I won't on my public account release this stuff, but who knows what's going to be done with this info.
Well, okay, so let me ask you this. So one thing that was said 2 days ago on your stream was that the ends don't justify the means. This person, whoever they are, contacted me through deception with lies that they made up, saying that Sam's relative works for Team YouTube. They repeatedly tried to bait me into saying things throughout this conversation. They posed as someone who hates Sam, that they kept telling me all kinds of vile accusations against Sam, saying, you don't know the half of what he's done. Here's some other things he's done. I haven't repeated any of those things. You know what the purpose of them saying that to me was? I know in retrospect, to try to get me to say it publicly so that Sam could claim I was gossiping.
To gain your trust. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same,
so they're trying to
you were doing,
but no,
that you say you're doing to them.
But see, my trust is, but see, I'm not approaching it through deception. My trust is genuine. Their trust is not. Right. So I'm not fine with them trying to gain my trust. I'm not fine with them trying to gain my trust through lies. And then they ask me all kinds of questions like, you know, what do you think about IP's fundraiser and other things that they're trying to get me to be a hypocrite on? But I'm the same person in private as I am in public. I had determined pretty quickly that this person didn't actually have any information.
So
the only reason I can do.
You're saying my trust is genuine. Like I was actually meaning what I was saying to this person. Well, what you're saying to this person is you're talking about doxing, and you're saying I'm only going.
I'm not talking about doxing. We need to talk about the definition of doxing. We need to talk about the definition of doxing, because you keep using that term lightly, and you guys had.
Well, no, that's the word. That's the word that's being used in the text. That's why I'm using it.
We need to talk about the definition of what doxing is. I said it's not doxing. Why did I say it's not doxing? Because it's not. It doesn't meet the definition of doxing. Doxing is publicly sharing private information for the purposes, and that's a key phrase, for the purposes of harassment, intimidation, or to shame someone. It doesn't. You guys repeatedly said on Monday that Malik wasn't doxing anyone because it was public information. Then Sam says, my information's out there. It's public information. So make up your mind. What is the definition of doxing? How am I doxing, but Malik isn't?
To be fair, Thaddeus, I did push back on that in that same live stream.
No, you didn't. You said I don't approve of doxing, but you allowed him to say that it's all public information.
Well, if you came across with the idea that I somehow approve of somebody publishing,
I don't think you approve of it. I think that you let Sam say whatever he wanted and didn't push back.
Let me speak, Thaddeus. Hold on one moment.
Okay, sorry.
So if you came away from that live stream thinking that I somehow approve or I think it's okay for someone to release someone's address online in the hopes that people will harass them, no, I don't approve of that. I even said in the live stream, I don't have the same take about the IP thing. I think it's relatively justified to, do a GoFundMe to move your family to safety. However, I do think it's super suspicious. And I've said this to you as well, Thaddeus. I do think it is super suspicious that there are multiple different GoFundMes within the same year, all for the same thing. Now, I don't come to any concrete conclusions about those other than the God Logic one, which was closed and then reopened immediately after to do a money flex video. But that would be going off the rails with this. I just want to clarify what my actual position is. I'm not saying people should go and if they can find Thaddeus's address online publicly, go post it so people can harass Thaddeus. I do not support that whatsoever. So,
and I'm sure that's true.
To be clear, I want to clarify my position before we even move forward, because I think that's important. Because that was something that came up in the David Wood video or whatever. And I did catch that part. I didn't watch the whole thing, to be fair. So I don't know if there was some context added after, but I did want to clarify at least my position here.
So what I came away from, I believe you that that's your position, because that's the only reasonable position anyone could have. And I believe you are a reasonable person, and that is definitely your position. However, the way the video came across, was it's no big deal. He just got some information in public.
Which I push back on that part. But let's go back and we'll address. So we've already kind of hit this into the ground. So I feel like about this.
So, but that definition of doxing is clear. So let me ask you this question. Okay.
Well, let me do a summary real quick. So you're just to make sure that we have this right. So your position is you wanted to gain this person's trust. That's why you were accepting the information. The person was saying you could dox him privately. You said it's not doxing in private. You're going to do it publicly. You accepted the info so that, according to you, so that you could then get the real info you needed after, so you could submit.
And I acknowledge that was wrong, just to be clear. So I did acknowledge that was wrong.
Okay, so you could submit the thing to Team YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. I don't necessarily buy that story, but we can move on for the sake of us.
Yeah,
doing whatever the next.
That's fine. That's
so
fine.
I know.
So
go ahead.
I have clips that I prepared. So one of them is Malik actually doxing people. Obviously, no actual information is in the video, but is that something you would like to see? Or this conversation I think has maybe gotten about as fruitful as it's going to get.
Okay,
so let me ask you
what
this.
I want to really.
Do you think I doxed anyone? Do you think I doxed?
I don't think you have yet. I think that was your intention here. To be honest, that's from my perspective. That is what it looks like. I don't necessarily buy that you were just trying to gain this guy's trust to
that's
get
fine.
the real info. That seems kind of far-fetched to me, but I will let it lie there. And I don't plan on addressing this again in the future. You've come on to have the discussion with me. What I would like to do is just I just want to ask a very basic question, and then we can wrap this up.
So hold on. I want to say one other thing on doxing. I know Sam's not here to defend himself, but Sam unambiguously doxed someone in the past. He gave their full name, full address, phone number, a private individual.
Thaddeus. I don't want to get into. I don't want to listen. I was
just going to ask you if you condemn it.
I don't want to get into additional accusations of this person to justify what you did. Okay,
it's not a justification. I'm not trying to justify anything. I'm asking for consistency. You gave a very different standard for me than you did for Sam and Malik.
It's okay that I hit him, or my sister hit me, therefore it's okay I hit her. I don't want to get into the cook way. This is all I want to say, Thaddeus.
My position is that you're a complete hypocrite because you're holding me to a different standard than you're holding anyone else to. And I'm leaving it at that.
All right, we can grant it. All right, that I'm hypocritical. My goal here in this discussion is to see if somehow we can turn down the temperature because we've gotten to this point. Now, I know you're saying there are things that Sam has done that's bad. If you want to have a conversation with Sam about the things that he's done that's bad, I'm sure you could do that. I'm sure you could.
But you mean what you did on Monday when you had Sam on to have a conversation about what I've done and what God Logic's done?
What I'm asking is this. Are you willing? Because he said that he'd be willing to stop if you guys stop. I know you say, hold on one moment. Let me speak without being interrupted for just a moment. Would you be willing to let it lie? It has gotten to such a point where it is just it's gotten vicious, man. We got to be able to. I know you say like, oh, there's no way he would stop or whatever. If that's the case, it is what it is. It is what it is at that point. But we could at least say we tried. Can we at least attempt to put an end to this?
Here's what I'm going to tell you. I will unilaterally reduce the temperature for a period of time with the full knowledge that Sam will not. Because he said on your stream that he knew we were going to respond and he was done after today. And before we said one word, he put out a bunch of more stuff. And then he decided to attack new people yesterday. He is not going to let it lie, but I am being the bigger person and I am unilaterally turning down the temperature. That doesn't mean I will not talk about him in the future. It means I am going to.
Well, what do you think?
I'm going to take down the level of red. First of all, I'm not going to say anything.
If he stops talking about you, would you stop talking about him? Period. Because if you leave it open and you're like, look, I'm going to attack him in the future or whatever. What does that do for us? It still leaves the open hostility.
So let me explain this to you.
Go ahead.
This is a moral issue for me. Sam is a cancer. He is a monster, and he is an abuser of the church. He is a horrible person who leads people out of Christianity. And as a result, I need to talk about his false theology. I need to talk about his abuse of people, but I can do so in a much more calm, professional manner, and that is what I'm committing.
I don't really care about the cadence of your voice, Thaddeus. I'm asking if we can stop the endless back and forth. It seems like you're saying no. This is your mission to take him down, basically. It's not going to end until he's basically completely destroyed.
Do you think that someone, just because they claim the name of Christian, should be allowed to do whatever they want? Or is there a time and place to, we're not talking about Sam, we're just talking as a general principle. Is there a time and a place to oppose people?
I think your actions, Thaddeus, have demonstrated very clearly that you would not be the right person to do that. It's gotten to a point where
I accept that is your opinion. I accept that is your position. I will repeat myself.
It's a very simple question, though, Thaddeus. Can we, if he's willing to stop, would you stop?
But it's not about him attacking me. You don't understand, right? You don't understand that it's not a moral issue. But because I know that Sam won't stop, I'll just go ahead and say it. If I'm not going to say anything for the next week, if Sam doesn't say anything for the next week, then I won't say anything after the next week. How about that?
There you go. So you'll see there. That is a better answer. I think we can leave it at that. I mean, at least we can say that we've tried, even if it doesn't work out. At least we can say that we tried. I think that's a better answer. That's certainly a better answer than it's scorched earth. I'm not stopping until he's completely destroyed. So I appreciate at least that. Guys, please pray for us in the audience. I think this is about as fruitful as we can get in this discussion.
So I'm only allowed to address the doxing accusation and nothing else.
I think we've gotten to the point where this is about as fruitful as we're going to get, man.
Can I address him attacking my family at least?
Address what? Him bringing up your family in the video?
Oh, actually, there's something directly relevant to the doxing, if you don't mind. So during the live, he shared a screenshot
with respect, Thaddeus. I think this is about as good as we're going to get. I think it's best to just end it here, man. But you've agreed that if he stops, he'll stop. We don't need to reopen every single thing.
That's all you wanted from me is a promise. You had no interest in what the truth of the matter was, or addressing any of the lies. So can I address one thing that has nothing to do with Sam? That only has to do with you?
Look, we could have discussed all of this in detail. You already went live yesterday, breaking it all down. What is the point of doing so to make ourselves feel better?
It has nothing to do with making us feel better. This has to do with talking to you about your behavior. Can I address one thing? And I promise I won't mention Sam at all. That is exclusively your behavior.
Thaddeus, with all due respect, I'm also done here. I don't plan on bringing this up in the future. I think it's just got to be.
That's fine.
Got to be here.
I tried, like you said. At least we got to try, right? So I tried. I wanted to address a very specific vile accusation that you made, but you're not interested in doing that. That's fine.
Well, forgive me for my actions that has led to you being upset at me. I'm not going to bring up the subject again. I plan on moving on to other things. If we can leave it here, we can leave it here. If we can't, then it is what it is.
I think that I'm at peace that I didn't get to address the things I wanted to address.
Was it brought up in last night's live stream?
Yeah.
Where
if you want to put a link to that for people who want to see it, then sure.
Sure. I'll pull this up. I'll pull this up on the screen real quick, and then we can leave it here.
But I mean, I did want to confront you about your behavior. I mean, obviously I couldn't confront you about your behavior yesterday.
Okay. One moment. Apologetics Roadshow. So this was the live stream yesterday. So this is the video. I shared this on the screen earlier. This is Cleave to Deception, Ortho Bros split over Sam Shamoun Alliance versus God Logic, David and AP. So we've had the discussion. If you're interested in watching this, where they break down the video that we did, go ahead and check that out.
Yep.
Maybe we can, I hope this has at least been somewhat helpful in bringing the temperature down a little bit. If it was a waste of time, it is what it is. We tried.
No, hey, I'm a man of my word. I said I'm not going to talk about it if Sam doesn't talk about it again. I'm a man of my word, but I need to emphasize that if is there. I'm not giving him unilateral license to attack without being responded to. But if he stops, I stop. As far as, you know, anything public discussion, obviously I'm not going to change the way I feel about him or whatever, but as far as any public discussion, it is what it is, right?
People are just saying, let him say the point. Go ahead. Let's address my behavior.
Okay. So on the live stream, you, specifically you, no one else, made an accusation that there was money laundering going on in these fundraisers. Now, you phrased it as a question, but we all know what was going on here, right? Sure. It's super suspicious to me. Someone needs to investigate this. There's money laundering. Money laundering is a very, very significant crime. Do you think it's responsible to go around throwing out, oh, I'm just asking questions, as you're raising that people are engaged in the kind of fraud that lands them in jail for 20 plus years?
Sure. Well, to be fair, I didn't make an accusation that money laundering was occurring. I said I would not be surprised if that's what these things are being used for. And it would be interesting if somebody were to go through the names and see exactly who's giving money to these GoFundMes. And I've said this to you as well, not necessarily a money laundering point there, but that it is extremely suspicious that so many GoFundMes have been raised in the last year. Okay. And that they're all over almost exactly the same thing. And it's gotten what? Well, not even $250,000. It's gotten about $500,000 or something at this point in the last year amongst this group.
I mean, first of all, it's not a group, but so as a professional data analyst, I can say that it's a mark of human intelligence that people recognize patterns, right? But as a result of our incredible ability to recognize patterns, we sometimes see that patterns that don't exist. And we have a very small set of data here. We have GodLogic's fundraiser for copyright. And then we have a couple other fundraisers for people moving house, basically. Now, if those were all independent and they had nothing to do with one another, I would agree. For fundraisers from a group that has, you know, from people, because again, we're not actually really all part of the same group, but I understand we all talk about Islam, so we're all associated together, but we're not all like, you know, close friends who have like planned together and stuff. But nonetheless, I understand that if there was 4 fundraisers from people who have, you know, been doing this 10 plus years and they've like basically never asked for that kind of money before, that would be odd, right? It would definitely be odd. But there is correlation, right? Because the correlation is that Malik has been going after giving out all kinds of people's information. And as you said, it even seemed, you know, plausible that it was legitimate, right? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you said that and I do agree that IP was one of the things that you definitely pushed back at least a little bit on Monday. That you weren't all that suspicious of that one. So you have 3 people, right? That Inspiring Philosophy, David Wood, and Apostate Prophet, who moved house and did a fundraiser for that. And then you have GodLogic with the copyright thing. And GodLogic's is completely unrelated, obviously. And that one's coincidence. The other 3, there's one cause for the 3 of them.
Okay. So the thing is that I said you've gotten $500,000 in a year. You're basically saying that's bad behavior to raise up the fact that all these GoFundMes.
No, specifically the accusation of money laundering is
okay. To say I wouldn't be surprised if there was something like that going on. Yeah.
So just as a point of fact, Inspiring Philosophy, which is the majority of the money, the others combined are less than Inspiring Philosophies, I believe. But the IP is the majority of the money.
I mean, this is
I just want to make a single statement of fact. It has over 4,200 donors. If you do the math, that's $70 a person. The reason it got so much, it made mainstream media news. It was on all kinds of places, and tons and tons and tons of people donated. There's no money laundering involved.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that that's been cleared up. I haven't looked into it. I just said I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case.
Okay.
Now, I do think the God Logic situation with the GoFundMe and reopening it as a I'm going to flash dollar bills in your face thing is something different. But I think that would open up a whole nother
And you're entitled to criticize that, right? I mean, you're entitled to criticize people's behavior. Look, none of this is about you criticizing behavior. The reason I came on, and you know this for a fact because I said this to you before you even did the first stream, that I want to address. I'm asking you to push back, and you didn't push back. So I asked for the opportunity to push back on your behalf. And you only let me push back on the doxing, but at least you let me push back on that. And I'm at peace with who I am. And I don't think that I did it. I think I worded things unwisely, but I don't think I did anything morally wrong.
Okay. Well, we can, I guess it's just a good place to leave it here, agree to disagree, and then move on, and we can go about our business. So yeah, I think that's a good place. Thank you for coming on the show, Thaddeus. Oh, sorry.
I just said God bless. That's all.
Have a good day. See ya. All right, here you go. So hopefully we can move on after that. I'm honestly a little bit tired after those discussions here. But please pray for everybody involved. The intent here was to try to lower the temperature if we can. I'll let you all come to your own conclusions. But, you know, we've got Sam saying he would stop, David saying he would stop, Thaddeus saying he would stop, and now AP as well. So if that's the case, and we could just keep things to like theology or whatever the case may be, that's great. But we can move on from the endless stream of, you know, this kind of thing here where it's like he doesn't love his daughters or whatever, and then Sam getting mad and saying something back. So there you go. We tried. Beautiful. All right. Let me read some of these super chats and we'll wrap up. By the way, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do so now. I appreciate everybody watching. Please pray for everybody involved. Pray for AP. Pray for Thaddeus, pray for David Wood, pray for Sam and myself. But you know, wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice if we can forgive one another, and at least we don't have to be best friends, but it could just, I don't know, the drama spiral can be lessened. Pray less emotion, or pray less emotions. Yes, prayer is needed. My throwaway account says, my apologies for super chatting about his wife before knowing the full story. Thanks for having him on. Lord have mercy. Very true. Yeah, pray for him. I mean, look, is it naive? Is it naive to think that maybe we could turn the temperature down? I don't know. Maybe, probably it is. But at least I can walk away from this saying I tried. And that's really it. That is, Jesus said we must forgive others without limit, that God will not forgive us if we refuse to forgive, and that we should forgive even those who hurt you. Yes. Yes. And that includes me. I try not to hold grudges. I don't even necessarily care that they went live and said stuff about me yesterday. I didn't even bring up really much of that. So God bless them. Forgive them. Forgive me, a sinner, as well. AP and Thaddeus both refuse to not retaliate and use retaliation as justification for sin. Lord of mercy. Read St. Cassian on anger. Let it go. Good advice for all of us. Read St. Cassian on anger. When you say Thaddeus, I thought you meant Thaddeus Patrick. Thaddeus Patrick from Father Paul's parent. That'd be funny. Looks bad, smells bad, call a duck a duck. A person says, I can give Sam's address if you accept the address. Sam has just been doxxed. His excuse is he's just manipulating the guy. You can watch for yourself, anybody that's watching this after the fact, and go make your own conclusion. JP with a different take. I believe him, Sam's cuckoo you totally set him up. What do you mean you believe him about what? About the text? I don't know what you're saying there. We got to turn the temperature down. That will never happen. He's got, well, either way, what good does it do to intentionally set somebody off that has already said publicly, that he would like prayer for anger and these types of things? What does it do? I mean, it's not difficult to rage bait somebody. And this, honestly, it would be nice if we could move on. If we can't, it is what it is, and I try. About IP selling his house for $300K and buying a new house for $300K. What is the 280 crowdfunding for? Why does he need enough for an entire second house? Who knows if he has a mortgage or not, though? I don't know if he has a mortgage. Is his house paid outright, or is this just like extra money in his pocket? How long, Thaddeus, how long before Sam attacks him? If he does, it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm not gonna, I don't know Sam very well. But this entire situation, I think, could use, you get the point. I've said it over and over again. The rule of thumb is you ought not to anticipate what other people are going to do. Take the peace deal with, yes, exactly. 100%. Yes, take the peace deal and wait and see. Exactly. Because if you're just constantly, people do this with their families all the time. They're like, I'm not going to talk to my dad. The only thing he's going to do is chew me out. Well, how do you know until you try? And then you could say you tried, Oh, I'm not going to talk to my sister. All she does is care about herself. And last time she stabbed me in the back. If that's how you live your life, it's going to be terrible. If you manage to have DW AP Thad, no, I'm done. I'm done with this, to be honest. I need 7 figures. True. Cleve came to your content recently and now is an Orthodox Inquirer. But I need to say I have so much respect for you and how you conducted yourself in these conversations. I try, dude. It's hard. Before we even did the shows, I was, I lit the incense. I sniffed the incense, and I went to my icon corner and prayed. And I took holy water. I said, Lord, guide my speech. Lord, guide my thoughts. Lord, guide the work of my hands. Soften our hearts. What can you do? If God's not in it, then what are we even doing? Yeah, I need his help. Otherwise, I'm going to ruin it all. Ben, I hope this is showing you drama streaming is more often than not going to drag you into the mud. Well, not everything I do is drama streaming. If there's a situation that pops up, it can be addressed. But getting to the point where you are literally, you can go back and watch the fruit of an endless spiral. The situation with like the other Paul, you know how I ended it? Because he kept going back and forth, back and forth. I don't need to have the final word. You know what I said? I said, God bless you. I will pray for you. And move on. You say what you need to say and move on. That doesn't mean you never say anything. It's beneficial to nobody to sit there and do like 20,000 shows over a year period of time. It's just anyway, we've already discussed it. Things can be addressed. They don't have to. Yeah, you get what I'm saying. May God richly bless you and your family, Cleve. You tried so hard to make peace between everyone. C2A, ambassador for Orthodoxy. Well, you know what? It happens. I mean, the Orthodox faith is so beautiful in this respect, this aspect of forgiveness. I fall short. I'll fall short all the time. And I always will. I always will fall short. But look back at where I was, a little over a year ago. As a Protestant apologist attacking the Orthodox Church. But I repented. And what happened? People forgave. Sometimes it took a little while for some people, but they forgave. And look at you can't say that's not something that the Orthodox Church doesn't do, or even the Ortho Bros don't do. Because it's clearly the case that is something that we do quite often. I mean, just look at the back and forth between Sam and Jay. What a beautiful thing. What a beautiful thing. And that's not to say that they're going to work together, but they forgave each other for the personal piece, and that's beautiful. That's something we should strive for. I think that's something that's very rare in this space. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Thank you so much. GB, the peacemaker, may you submit to Rome, Deus fall. No, thank you. In essence, they lost the plot. I pray for them. God should be first in all things. Yes, absolutely. Forgiveness is not an option. It's a commandment. Absolutely. See, I even in my personal life, this is something that I try to practice. Like my wife will sometimes ask me, she's like, oh, when did I ever do this? When did I ever do that? I'm like, look, I really try not to track all these things. I don't remember every personal slight. The scripture says true love keeps no record of wrongs. This is an extremely difficult thing to do in the online space, but I think one of the beauties of having a very public conversion is that getting attacked from all sides has made it much easier for me to forgive other people, move on, but not only that, to get a very thick skin. I'm not always perfect. I'm not perfect ever, I don't think. I'm not always I don't always do the right thing, but I try. So anyway. All right. Thank you so much for watching this. I hope this has been somewhat edifying. I will have a show Friday with Father Tom Soroka. This will be at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. If you're interested, check out that show. Who's live right now that I can raid? Who's live right now that I can raid? Let me know in the chat. Who can I send y'all to? By the way, if you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and smash subscribe. I plan on doing more edifying stuff going forward. We may address a situation here or there. I am not going to devolve into this endless cycle, though. We may address a situation here or there, though. Is Alex live? Is he? The Crucible is live. There you go. We'll go raid Crucible. Crucible. There you go. All right. You guys, send Andrew Wilson my regards. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.